From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. It is 6 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up early in the morning. And I am trying to think in almost, what are we at? 31 years, 10 months, 4 days. No, would be 7 days. 31 years, 10 months, 7 or 8 days, because it's the 8th of May. I think I'm hard-pressed to pick a morning that I have been more disgusted, more outraged than what was allowed to happen yesterday. Understand something. We've been telling you for a long time, things you've never seen before, things you could not even imagine are going to be happening. And Democrats don't care. They used to care. They used to try to, it wasn't thinly disguised, but they would try to disguise their bad actions a little bit. Now, they just don't care. This Judge Merchan, he should be criminally charged. This guy is a menace. Now, imagine this. He behaved so despicably. He told Trump attorneys not to object too much because you want to let the jury hear. You don't want to object. So he told them not to object too much. Then afterward, he chastised the Trump attorneys for not objecting more. This guy is a disgrace. Now, of course, he wasn't going to honor the request for a mistrial because it would be a mistrial against him, Merchan. I'm still trying to figure out how Stormy Daniels was allowed to testify at all. And what does 18 years ago, this is supposed to be about something that occurred to affect criminally, although nothing they've done yet. 4th week of this. And the prosecutor's side says they want at least another 2 weeks. That's going to make it 6 weeks. And then will the defense put a case on? Or if literally no crime, see, Merchan's going to have a decision to make. If they literally do this whole thing of trying to fake the jury into believing that there's a crime, but they don't bring up anything that is a crime, Merchan actually has a duty to dismiss the case in favor of Trump. I guarantee you he's not going to do that because it is my considered opinion that he is corrupt. He is a corrupt Democrat operative. Stormy Daniels did not, if you look at all the different things pursuant to the rule of law, you hear these terms. Does the probative value of Stormy Daniels' testimony outweigh the prejudicial aspect on the defendant? Now, anybody being objective, even the cast of The View, that's actually celebrating, and they're going to be very sad, but they're actually celebrating what prison Rikers, Whoopi thinks they should reopen Alcatraz just for Trump. These are sick people. These are lunatics. Trump derangement syndrome is real. We've been telling you this for what? My God, 8 years, maybe more, 9 years. Count the campaign before the 2016 election. These are sick people. Stormy Daniels should not have been allowed to testify at all. What does President Trump's silky pajamas, what's in his medicine cabinet, sex that they had or didn't have? You know, Stormy Daniels actually accused the president of a crime before this jury, and they got to hear this. This is unbelievable. Don't know if you know this, but the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals long ago ordered Stormy Daniels to pay. She violated her non-disclosure agreement. They ordered her to pay, I don't remember how many thousands and thousands of dollars. And because if you're against Trump, the system just will not touch you. She is not paid. Why isn't she locked up? She hasn't paid what's been ordered for her to pay. And she said yesterday in her testimony that she hasn't paid him and that she hopes to never have to pay him. Maybe if you've been doubting my word or you just have a different opinion, maybe now you know that this is not a trial. This is a Democrat political hit job masquerading as a felonious trial. There is no felony. And Alvin Bragg isn't qualified or allowed to bring up any federal type charge. But he did anyhow. Do you know they didn't even know? I mean, at some point they knew she was going to be a witness just because. But the defense did not know until right before. You think about in terms of when you can appeal to the 100 people that are texting me, I'm too focused right now. I just cannot respond. You can keep texting and I'll get you during the break. I'm getting absolutely barraged here. And I understand people are thoroughly pissed off about what's going on right now. But this is just absolutely terrible. A judge has allowed unsubstantiated allegations from 18 years ago to come into this trial. And just like with the E. Jean Carroll, who didn't know what year, where, when, why, how, and they just keep finding against Trump, Stormy Daniels didn't know what this was or that was, didn't matter, just keep blabbing. Admitted under cross-examination that she hates Trump and that she wants him in jail. I don't know. I swear I said this to my brother the other day, Don, not the other brother. I said, I wish I was on that jury. God, I wish I was on that jury. I wouldn't even have to cheat. I would just be in the jury room saying, there's no crime here. So we can vote until the end of time, but there's no crime here. You'd have to nullify the results of this trial. And what's Michael Cohen going to say? The controller and others within the Trump organization said Trump didn't even know about the payments and they paid it and that it was for legal expenses. How could Trump knowingly have committed any felony? You know that Mershon also let books from 30 years ago and more come into evidence? This is crazy what they're allowing. This, I know for a fact that if Trump is convicted, this will be overturned on appeal. I guarantee it. Weinstein got his case overturned because they let a little bit too much that was unrelated, that was prejudicial, come in. Think about what Mershon has done. You know, the other thing that I think is really appealable, and I've been saying it from the beginning, I can't find it anywhere in New York state law. He only allowed 10 preemptory challenges. So when you are in an area, now keep in mind, 85% voted against Trump in New York City. They wanted to change a venue. Not like to another country, just somewhere that wasn't this disproportionately anti-Trump. Mershon wouldn't give it to them. He gave them 10 preemptory challenges when 85 of every 100 people that would come before you would be rabidly against you. So I get people all the time, hey, is this going to be all right? Ultimately, it's going to be all right. What I can tell you is they could get away with this. No crime committed, not even allowed to present the crime that was. They didn't even tell Trump what the crime was until the trial began. The trial was underway before Bragg, and then Mershon allows all this. And then, of course, they let all this stuff come in that has no probative value at all and is all prejudicial crap. Todd Blanche, Trump's attorney. I have to go to the break. I'm gonna need another segment to tell you my thoughts about yesterday, and I'll tell you about Todd Blanche and what he tried to do, and what Mershon did in response. And let's see. I got to tell you, I don't want him to go to jail, but in a way, it almost has to happen. How is Trump going to remain silent through this with what they are allowing? Stormy Daniels and Cohen and all these other people and witnesses, they're allowed to blab wherever they want to talk. But Trump can't. You ever hear of a case where, how do you prepare when you don't even know who the next witness is? And, of course, then they blame Trump for the reason why that is. His rights have not been just violated. He has been trampled upon. And in fact, and this is hard to believe, I mean, like the Tsarnaev brothers got more consideration. Remember them? The Boston Marathon bombers? I think one of them just won an appeal or something. Might get a new trial or something. Trump gets less courtesy in this New York trial than terrorists. You cannot come up with, I cannot come up with someone being more unfairly treated in American history than what's going on here with Donald Trump. There has never been anything like this. Trust me. I promise you. They know that if they get a guilty verdict, that they will be overturned. But they also know that it will not be in time and that their election interference would have worked. They would have taken Trump off the campaign trail for 7 or 8 weeks. I told you it wasn't going to be 4 to 6. Told you. It's going to be at least 7. Probably more. They would have gotten away with that. All that money he had to put up. By the way, there is one fantastic piece of great news. The Jack Smith case is indefinitely postponed, and the media is not even covering it. They're so interested in Stormy Daniels' sex that they're not even covering that. That is huge. That's not going to happen, and I predicted that it would not happen. This is going to be the only trial before the November 5th election, and I've told you that for months now. All right, I've got so much more. We'll be back in just a little bit.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's the topics that matter to me.
WPG Talk Radio.
Matters to me, too.
95.5.
Fox News commentary.
The Chicago Teachers Union is making big demands, including an extra $50 billion for wage hikes, fully paid abortions for members, and more money for illegal immigrants. What part of this benefits students? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
The elites want more control through digital currencies in a cashless society. This is Stephen K. Bannon, and I believe gold is the answer to safeguard your wealth, especially if you own your gold inside of a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting SHELTER to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. So text SHELTER to the number 989898 to claim your free info kit today.
Message and data rates may apply.
The almighty teachers' unions have a stranglehold on Democrat politicians, and they know it. That's why the Chicago Teachers Union is making some big demands. According to a leaked memo, the union is not only demanding an extra $50 billion to accommodate a 9% wage hike, but also 100% health care coverage for abortions, fertility services, and storage of embryos. But there's more. For some odd reason, the Chicago Teachers Union is also reportedly earmarking $2,000 to be handed to illegal immigrants to fund academic needs, transportation, and mental health counseling. And of course, mandated LGBTQ training as a qualification in their job description. Folks, I think it's quite evident that the teachers union, like most teachers unions nationwide, does not exist to better the academic environment for students. They are liberal activists. I'm Tommy Lahren.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's well-balanced conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We're back 25 minutes past the hour. So yesterday, Stormy Daniels was allowed to tell a, quote, scary story that happened to her as she made allegations of a parking lot incident. Again, this is years and years and years ago. Nothing to do with whether Donald Trump falsely, is guilty of a campaign violation or did crooked tax reporting or whatever on a payment to an attorney and this and that. Nothing to do with these bogus allegations. There's no crime. That's the craziness of this. There's no crime at all. I'll tell you what. What do you make of a system that is so corrupt that they will criminally charge their political opponent like this? I mean, it should be just having Americans flip out. But you can't make anybody care about anything anymore is the problem. So Stormy Daniels is allowed to make all these scary allegations implying that Trump was behind it. And it's okay with this Judge Merchan. Todd Blanche tried to get a mistrial. And, of course, Juan Merchan, and he does it the way he always does everything. I don't feel that a mistrial is right at this time. Making it like it's open, though. Like, ask me again sometime. I might give you a different answer. I mean, look at the things that Stormy Daniels was allowed to do yesterday. And she's not done. And it's two different Stormy Daniels. Seems like she was coached. I think they said she wasn't, but seems like she was coached. And it went one way with the prosecution and then very differently under cross-examination. Juan Merchan is despicable. This guy is a disgrace to his profession. He should be criminally charged, but he won't be. And it is just an outrage. You look at this thing. Judge Merchan, Joe Biden contributor. His daughter, a Democrat operative, Trump hater. Obviously, he doesn't like Trump. It's so apparent. Michael Colangelo, who had like the top job under Attorney General that you can have. And he left that to come work for Fat Bragg. Who does that? I heard a former U.S. Attorney, U, and it's not the letter U. It's pronounced U, though. Y-O-O or something like that. And he was talking about how, this is a very strange thing because usually you start at the lower level and you want to get to these incredibly powerful, national, high-profiled positions. And here Colangelo is doing it the other way. He had the high job, and he left to go work for Letitia James and Fat Bragg. Then you have, I forget her name, but it's in my phone, and I'm going to read some of the transcript from yesterday in just after the bottom of the hour break. And so I don't even know how to pronounce her name, but I'll share with you who I'm referring to. But the one that did the Stormy Daniels the prosecution attorney that handled the Stormy Daniels questioning yesterday, she is a Democrat donor. I mean, think about this. The judge is a Biden donor. Colangelo, big time. Now we find out that another guy who's involved, I forget his name, he's paid by the DNC and a Democrat contributor. I mean, this is unbelievable that these people are on this case. But of course they are, because the whole thing is stacked and it's rigged. Much more after this. 30 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you, Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. A special meeting tomorrow night. It appears that the fate of the Atlantic City Superintendent of Public Schools, LaQuetta Small, will be decided. Might even be, not her, but might even be a resignation tomorrow night. Remember where you heard that. Not her, though. No way. They're not. Smalls aren't giving up cash. Believe me. Atlantic City was first ever in the country at this. Check it out.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. You probably need the umbrella and windshield wipers for a bit this morning, then the air conditioner this afternoon. Quick round of showers and thunderstorms coming in from the west, then we'll clear to sunshine this afternoon. It'll turn breezy today, inland high 82. Increasing clouds tonight with a low of 62. Tomorrow we'll see scattered pockets of rain throughout the day, mostly cloudy and cooler, high 69. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today. This is an important safety.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
I listen every morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 34 minutes past the hour. I am really hopeful, and I don't normally speak like this, and I don't even normally think like this, but I think that the Trump lawyer, and I'll tell you more about her in a second, they have to get very aggressive with Stormy Daniels tomorrow when she continues. Because what she got away with and what Bragg and his team got away with should be criminal. All right, let me share with you some of the things that have come out. This is verbatim stuff. This is during the cross-examination of Stormy Daniels by Susan Nichelis, who is one of President Trump's attorney. Good move. They had a woman question Stormy Daniels, the prosecution. Trump's team had a woman, because imagine if a man would ask certain things, it would just, they'd get eviscerated. So Susan Nichelis says, quote, "Am I correct that you hate President Trump?" Stormy Daniels, correct. "And you want him to go to jail?" Yes. "You were looking to extort money from President Trump." Stormy Daniels said, false. The attorney then, Susan, said, "And that's what you did." Stormy Daniels said, false. Then the attorney said, "You've been making money by claiming that you had sex with Mr. Trump for more than a decade, right?" Let's see what she says to this. Quote, "I've been making money by telling my story about what happened to me." Susan Nichelis said, quote, "And that story has made you a lot of money, right?" Stormy Daniels says, "It has also cost me a lot of money." President Trump, in a Truth Social post, wrote, "Great day in court today. I can't believe I'm gagged as the Republican nominee for president from talking about it. My constitutional rights have been taken away. And it's 4 exclamation points. Let me just double check that. 3 exclamation points followed by MAGA 2024. It's really unbelievable what they've gotten away with. It's disgusting, actually. You know what I think has to happen? Can't be coordinated by Trump, because I think gag orders also prevent you from just like what if I just stood next to Trump for the next 6 months? How well this will be over in 3 or 4 weeks. But by the way, I don't think the jury's going to have. I know there's 34 counts, so they do their job. They've got to look at all that, and that's what. Of course, they overcharged on top of wrongfully charged. So you do have to look at. And there's some people who think he'll be found guilty of some, not all. Some think it'll be a hung jury. Some think he'll be convicted. I don't know. I mean, we're not in the courtroom, New York, purposely because they're corrupt. They don't have cameras. I think this actually, some people think that this is wrong, but I think this would be good if there were cameras so that people could see how completely outrageous this is. You see, because Democrats, they don't care. More, it's a plurality, and nearing 50%. But more Americans know that President Trump is not getting a fair trial. It's like 48% say that he's getting an unfair trial. Like 28% say he's getting a fair trial. It's the numbers are all in Trump's favor. But we don't get to see this approach that they've been doing, and this Merchan, this fake fraud judge. Shouldn't even call him a judge. I'll tell you, I feel so strongly about this. Something has to be done when this is over. Their conduct, they need to be reprimanded, disbarred, whatever you can do for what they have done. Because they have embarrassed and they have destroyed the entire rule of law with this. Very interested in what you have to say about all this coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Then we are jam-packed. Jim Malamut at 8, John Walters at 9. So our open forum this morning coming up in a little over 20 minutes from now at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. Let me just double check that I don't have any additional thoughts. Boy, did the prosecution and Merchan go way, way too far yesterday. There's a term called irreversible damage. That's what happened yesterday. Even if the judge tomorrow tells the jury, I let too much in, you heard things you should not have heard, I strike the salacious testimony of Stormy Daniels, you can't undo what was done. That's why it's called irreversible damage. And that is why Merchan, and remember, he didn't blow it. He wanted this to happen. He can say later, I wish. He had the audacity to say that I wish this salacious stuff did not happen yesterday or today, meaning yesterday. He has the nerve to say things like that. Hey, don't object too much. Let the jury hear, because if you object, it doesn't let them hear, and it's really, not a good thing. Don't object too much. Then afterwards, you didn't object enough. You made me let this happen because you didn't object enough. This is what this slime ball did yesterday. I'm not making this up. This went on. This is actually what went on yesterday. All right, we'll put that aside until you call in after the top of the hour at 609-407-1450. Kristi Noem was interviewed by Stuart Varney, and it didn't go well for her. And she cut him off and said, "Enough, Stewart." And I'll tell you, I don't know the last time I've seen someone blow themselves up like this. And then she canceled her appearance with Greg Gutfeld, who was a comedian. He would have been good to her. And they would have tried, to find levity. Instead, he trashed her on the 5 and on his show. Then he had Dana Perino play Kristi Noem in an interview. She has absolutely blown it. God, I'll tell you, and because she wanted this so bad. Remember my doctrine. Look, I like ambitious people that are doing it the right way. I'm not saying that she was doing anything in the wrong way relative to trying to become the VP nominee, because she's still begging, to get it. It's embarrassing. She's like Chris Christie at this point. It's just sad. But I've not seen someone just completely destroy themselves in this short a period of time. I don't know what she was thinking. Putting this stuff in the book, then the thing about saying she met with Kim Jong-un, and that's so easily provable, whether you did or you didn't. And then she blames it on the publisher. But, hey, lady, you read your book, the audio version of the book. So when you said about meeting with Kim Jong-un, wouldn't you immediately stop and say, "Oh, excuse me, that I never met. I met a lot of world leaders," and I don't even know if that's true, but it may be. I haven't looked into that. What's a lot? I would say if you've met 5 or more world leaders, you could say you've met a lot of world leaders. If you met 1 or 2, then you say I've met a few world leaders. But anyhow, that's not, whether she met a lot of world leaders is not in dispute. It could be, but this other stuff takes precedent over that. But she knows she didn't meet with Kim Jong-un, and she's blaming it on like an editor of the book, which is what cowards do. You got to own the book, lady. And you read it. So if I'm reading my book, and if I all of a sudden say, and that time I starred with George Clooney and Richard Gere and Diane Lane. Yeah, that movie we made, was really something. It was an experience I'll never forget. Well, come on. A couple of words into that, I'm going to be, whoa. Whoever put this in, I'll record this when this gets fixed. I didn't make a movie with George Clooney and Richard Gere and Diane Lane. And by the way, sidebar, I said those 3 actors on purpose. Number 1, I think they're all great actors. And Diane Lane, I'm not going to play this game. Women to me are actresses. Sorry. I'm not calling a female actress and a female. The Oscar goes to the lead actor in a female role, and now they're even getting to the point where that's a problem with DEI and all their crap. In a formerly female role, now gender whatever. But the reason I said those 3, I learned something a day or 2 ago that I never knew before. George Clooney was supposed to have, there's a movie with Richard Gere and Diane Lane, and I thought it was Oliver, but they call him like Olivier Martinez, called Unfaithful. And I found out the other day, and it kind of knocked me over with a feather, that George Clooney had the Richard Gere role. They wanted George Clooney. But George Clooney was tied up with Ocean's 11 and could not do the movie. That movie is fantastic. And honestly, I think sometimes you just accept what you know. I think Richard Gere is better in that role than George Clooney would have been. George Clooney's a great actor, so he could have done it, and he would have been fine. But never knew that before, and I don't know if you knew that before or if you even care. But it's a good movie, and I brought those three up on purpose. So I know Kristi Noem is a liar now because she read, look, all the other stuff, the dog's a utility in their way of thinking more than we think that way. She says the dog viciously attacked humans and killed the chickens. I mean, I think she could have done a better job with all of this. But you cannot explain away that you said you met with Kim Jong-un and you never did. And you can't blame it on a book editor because you read the audio book and in your voice you say, and there's so many details about meeting with him. It's I hate to say it, but it's like Joe Biden stuff. It's that level of, to me, sickness of someone not only saying something that's demonstrably false, but then having such detailed stories about the encounter that never happened. And she admits it didn't happen. Then how do you have all this stuff? Oh, the editor. But why did you read it? You would know immediately you're reading something. You don't read like a zombie. So she's, in my opinion, she's disqualified. Permanently disqualified for higher office. And I think she should be even looked again at the job she has. We'll be back.
Hurley in the morning.
If you really want to know what's happening in Atlantic City, it's Harry Hurley every single morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Goshen, Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Here's something that's a shame, and they got away with it again. You know, the Boy Scouts had a lot of issues. They had pedophile issues, massive judgments and things like that. So they're, of course, weakened. And then that's when this kind of thing strikes. So after 114 years, and it will take effect on their 115th anniversary as an organization, the Boy Scouts, I believe, will become Scouting America or something like that, all in the name of DEI. They get to destroy another organization. You think about, I was not a Boy Scout, but I love what they stand for, though. You know, their mission statements and credo and, you know, about character and doing good. And it is terrific philosophy of it all. And, of course, like everything that the radical left wants to get its hands on, they can destroy. So Boy Scouts no more, Scouting America. Anything they can do to destroy our traditions. God, I'll tell you what, I don't even know. And I know that's why you only get a limited amount of time on this planet, because you just get to know too much and you see what's happening. For example, if you closed your eyes and I could make it 50 years from now, 50, you won't believe. I don't even know if this country will exist as we know it in 50 years. With all the illegals that are here, and if Trump doesn't win, and if Trump can't deport 20 million people, the entire makeup of this country. And we will become basically not a two-party system at all, but it'll just be basically a dictatorship. whatever you want to call it, hard leftism, Democrat socialism, whatever you want to call it. It's not good. That much I can tell you. It is not good. But this is good, what I'm about to share with you. United States District Judge Eileen Cannon has indefinitely postponed the President Trump classified documents case. I'll tell you what, Jack Smith, keep an eye on him. He has to be losing it right now. This trial, now imagine this. This trial was supposed to begin on May 20th. Do you realize if there would be a judge like Merchan on that case, like Trump's team would say, well, look, we're here for another 3 to 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks at least. The prosecution side says they need 2 more weeks. Now, the defense deserves to put on a case unless they just say, Your Honor, we're not going to put a case on. We're asking you to dismiss this. Then whatever time they need. Keep in mind, all these cases, all the things that go on, there's supposed to be deference to the defendant to give the amount of time that you need to prepare. Merchan didn't care about any of that. It was, we're getting you in the courtroom. You're not going to know what you're charged with. We're going to limit how many preemptory challenges you get. We're going to let anybody testify about anything. It doesn't matter. They're not even introducing anything that is a crime. Even if you just said, hey, we'll cop to everything has been said. We did. None of it's a crime. Thank you. But they're just letting anything go on. In the documents case, it's been a lot different. Some of the rulings Trump hasn't liked. But in terms of overall fairness, and of course they'll say this is because she was appointed by Trump. But many times we've seen it doesn't matter. Once they get a lifetime appointment, many times they don't care who appointed them. Sometimes even, and I know people like this and so do you. You ever been really good to someone and they resent you for it? I'm serious. Jealous, resentment, very caustic types of things. So he's got 40 counts there. But now the good news, and this is what I predicted all along, this is not happening prior to November 5th, which is a very good thing. This crap that's going on right now never should have ever happened, but this shouldn't have happened before the election. It is when President Trump says that this is election interference, he is telling the truth. Most people say he is not lying. I'd rather say he's telling the truth than do it in the negative. He's not lying. No, he's not lying because he's telling the truth. So this whole thing that he illegally kept documents. Now, keep in mind, that's another BS one, because Joe Biden had all kinds of documents that he never had the authority to have even one of them. Trump had the authority to have them all. Yet he's criminally charged and Joe Biden's not charged because the special counsel said that he has memory problems. But of course, in the public square, he doesn't have those problems. You get what Biden's allowed to have? It must be wonderful. He's got to have cake and ice cream all over his face because he's allowed to have his cake and eat it too. But this is not only being underreported, I don't see anybody reporting it. That this case, now I have to say, out of all of them, this is the one that, even though he had total rights to have any of the documents that he wanted, and he could say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I declassified every one of these. No, you didn't. Well, why? Oh, you didn't go through the committee. Hey, screw the committee. I'm the president. Do you think the committee approved the pardon of Roger Clinton? Hi, committee. I want you to pardon my brother. Bill Clinton did that. And the other people that he pardoned, he did that too. He didn't go to the committee. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But yesterday, this is the biggest thing that happened yesterday. And as usual, because it's in Trump's favor, it doesn't get reported. The most that Trump can ever achieve is something that's favorable to him will be underreported. That's the best case scenario that he can get in all of this. You know, Stormy Daniels, sorry, I'm not impressed with Stormy Daniels at all. I also don't like people that sign non-disclosure agreements and break them. I'm not impressed by that at all. But I am impressed that this documents case is postponed indefinitely and the Democrat media won't even say it. 609-407-1450. Your calls are next.
WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
You know, we have to add New Jersey Hall of Fame in there too. Come on. I'm totally stoked and honored by the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia, an amazing group of people, and that's actually where I became pals with Joe Pellegrino, now the late great Joe Pellegrino. But we got to get New Jersey into that show opener. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Thank you for calling in. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Morning to you, sir.
Well, where to start? I think we got to look at corruption's running rampant in our country. And it starts with the United States Attorney General's office. And it's just trickling down in these Democratic-run states.
Yeah, you know, you're right about that, and we have been commenting quite a bit about that. Any other Attorney General's office that was not politically corrupt, like Merrick Garland is, and he just is. You know, sorry, you know, he's sour grapes about being denied the Supreme Court, and he pretends to be elegant and even-handed, but he's not. He's very strategic and political. Any other attorney general would have swooped in and said, Alvin Bragg, you cannot charge a federal crime. We're not letting you do this. But, of course, it's the exact opposite of that. Not only is he not doing that, his guy goes in and works with Alvin Bragg. This is how transparently disgusting and disgraceful this is.
It is. And another thing, too, it takes away from the crimes that Joe Biden has committed and his son.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. I mean, that stuff doesn't even count right now. It's just completely, this is Trump world. I mean, they know, and I know you know this, I can tell, they know exactly what they're doing. They want to keep Trump busy, and they thought they were going to be able to have him in courtrooms until Election Day. But their plans got thwarted, so this is all they've got. They're going to go all in on this now because this is all they've got.
But lies always backfire.
Correct.
And it is backfiring on them. It is backfiring on them.
Well, so far, you know, the only thing we don't know is if President Trump is convicted of one or more felonies, this does give the Democrats and the Democrat media, I mean, everything they've been wishing for. Imagine Joe Biden, every chance he gets to say, look, the choice here is clear. Me, or you can vote for a convicted felon. I mean, that is going to be their best friend.
Yeah, but you know what? I think at the end of the day, when you look at it was a corrupt investigation, it's a corrupt trial. He can go ahead and say that even if Trump is convicted. But Trump can turn around and just say, hey, look what Joe Biden's done to our country. Look at the 20 million people that are in our country.
Yeah.
Look at the hate that's in our country.
Yeah. Look at the inflation. Look at everything. I mean, yes, that's why the Democrats have Trump's a convicted felon if they can say it, if they're blessed with that verdict. Of course, it's going to be, I guarantee you, overturned, but certainly not in time for the election. And they're going to have the abortion issue. I mean, they can't run that Bidenomics has made, the lives of the American people better. The only person right now in America that can say that they are better off now than they were 4 years ago is an illegal alien.
I agree. But to get to the abortion issue real quick, look how sick our country has become, where people will decide their fate, their future, on abortion, where these people are okay with killing babies up until birth.
Yeah, but you know what they do, though? Of course, they are in favor of that. Born Alive Act, it was called. Obama voted for it. I mean, the most radical piece of legislation in the history of America when Obama was an Illinois state senator. He was terrible on that job. He was terrible as a U.S. senator and terrible as president. But Biden's even worse than Obama. That's hard to believe, but Obama was the beginning of what Biden now has been able to do, and it is still all the Obama bots that are in there doing all these things. But if you look at what they're trying to get away with, the midterm election went much better for Democrats than it ever should have, because they don't really say, we want to kill babies. What they say is, leave my body alone. This is a woman's right to choose, and things like that. So they finesse it. This is not about infanticide to them. It is, but they don't cop to it. So that's their game. And believe you me, I've been following this very, very closely. In key battleground states, you're going to have abortion questions on the ballot.
Well, I don't know. I think we as Americans need to really take a step back, go to church, and look what's going on in our country. Whatever your faith might be, even if you don't have faith, you really got to take a look what's happening in our country, because the legal system is being rotted out. Our freedoms are being taken away.
Yep.
Our country is being given away.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when you look at what's going on every day, it's sickening. It really is. And it's sad, because our future, our children, the kids that are, being raised properly and raised right, are really in for a rude awakening as they get older. And I don't know what's going to happen, but if he doesn't win, we're in big trouble.
Oh, there's no question. It actually, I've never said this before. If Trump doesn't win on November 5th, we lose our country.
Oh, our country's gone.
I mean, imagine Biden and the people behind Biden, because I guarantee you he can't make it halfway through the term. There's no way. This guy is barely functioning at this point. He's even reading the teleprompter poorly. He's got no game if he doesn't have the no cards or the teleprompter. We're in big trouble, and then they'll have nothing, to worry about, and they will do things that we would never even imagine could happen in this country. I thank you for the call. When we come back, more of your calls, 609-407-1450. Don't go away. This is
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
This is what happens when you have people that will use the legal system to destroy their political opponents. Imagine any admission by a special counsel against the Democrats that key evidence in a case of a prominent Democrat, in this case, Donald Trump's classified documents criminal case, was altered or manipulated by their team. And the government acknowledges that this is inconsistent with what government counsel previously understood and represented to the court. They didn't even tell the court the truth. I mean, it's essentially an admission of evidence tampering, and it could be beyond problematic. It's stunning on multiple levels. No wonder Jim Jordan's investigating this.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, winter's officially left the building, so why not spring forward and freshen up your home with new premium window treatments from our friends at Blinds.com. Now, Blinds.com, they created a better way to shop for stylish blinds and shades and shutters and even motorized options. Everything is 100% online. Now, you can do the measure and install yourself, or just let the pros at Blinds.com handle it. Now, you can have multiple window coverings installed for just one low cost. And if you're not sure what's best for maybe an odd-shaped window or to block the sun on your patio, well, Blinds.com, they have design professionals that will help you for free. And they'll send free samples directly to you. Plus, with Blinds.com, you always get transparent pricing on their website. Never any hidden fees, no hassle, no multiple trips to a store. Blinds.com has free shipping and their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Just shop right now at Blinds.com. Save up to 45%. Get up to 45% off for a limited time when you go to Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It is 18 minutes past the hour. One open phone line. That's it. 609-407-1450. Welcome to Hurley in the morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. It's a great day in the city of Brigantine.
Good.
You caught me in the middle of my morning routine here. Let's see how good you are. Tell me what I'm doing. I'm doing my Wilford Brimley routine.
Oh, you're talking about the commercial that he did for a certain product?
Yes. What am I doing?
Oh, gosh. I remember the commercial.
I'll give you the tagline.
Yeah, my name is Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
No.
I'm using the association, the commercials that he did. Now, I know you're doing something different. He pitched, I guess it was a cereal, right?
Yes.
And it was like Quaker Oats or something?
There you go.
Got it. Okay.
It's the right thing to do and the tasty way to do it.
There you go. Oh man, go. I don't know how I did that. Go ahead.
It's funny when you look at all these cases, and I watched I watched the coverage yesterday of the trial. When you think of every one of these cases, not that any of them has any merit to begin with, but every one of them is imploding because of either a corrupt or inept judge or corrupt or inept prosecutors. It's unbelievable. Look at this McAfee in Georgia and Fani Willis, all those shenanigans.
Oh yeah, they're disastrous. That's nothing there is going to be able to happen before November 5th either. But I got to tell you, I can't stand those people, but this Mershon is worse than all of them put together.
Well, yeah, don't even get me started. But the Jack Smith thing yesterday, I mean, basically the reason that trial's being postponed is because Jack Smith tampered with evidence.
That is correct.
What happened? So, when you're going after the president of the United States or a former president, man, you better be squeaky clean and dot every I and cross every T. And every one of these people is either stupid, corrupt, or inept.
And Andy, past his prologue, look at Jack Smith's past with Governor McDonald of Virginia. He was railroaded, and of course, he lost his position, though, and then he was exonerated 9-0 by the United States Supreme Court. This Jack Smith is, in my estimation, he's a Klingon.
Well, hasn't he been overturned, like, or hasn't he been shot down like
he loses all the time. He's like a successful loser.
And this is the guy you pick who does that, as Jack Citarelli.
Well, remember, I'm going to tell you who does that. The one that doesn't really care about what happens now, or later rather, only cares what happens now. They picked the perfect guy, like the guy that they picked for Biden, you never heard a word from him. People didn't even remember that Biden even had a special counsel. Then he comes out one time only and does his report, testifies before the House committee. Boom. See you later. Jack Smith, totally different approach. Just like they don't really care, they want to get the conviction in Merchan's courtroom because they know they're going to lose. I mean, I can count so many, just 10 or more options to choose from why the case, if Trump is convicted, will be overturned, including allowing testimony that had no probative value, that was salacious. Even Merchan said that and scolded the prosecution, that Stormy Daniels' testimony was risque, irrelevant. But, of course, he let it all go. They want to get him now. They don't care if he's exonerated later.
So I'm watching this with friends of mine yesterday, and I said, this is beautiful, because what happened yesterday, okay, he didn't want to declare a mistrial, but what happened yesterday is textbook grounds for appeal. So all of these trials, really, they're never meant to put Trump away forever. All they're meant to do is to do what COVID did. Lock him down, keep him in the courtroom, keep him off the campaign trail during the campaign.
And believe me, the prosecution knows Stormy Daniels talking about condoms and silky underwear and getting raped. I mean, crazy stuff. The parking lot thing, all of this. They know that all of that is salacious, risque, irrelevant, not probative, not permitted. They don't care because they knew Merchan was going to let him get away with it. How about Merchan telling the Trump attorneys, don't object too often. Give the jury an opportunity, because, jurors don't like, to not get to hear what someone has to say. And if you're interrupting every other word, don't. And then at the end, he scolds them by saying, you made me allow that to get in because you didn't object enough. This is how disgusting this thing is going.
These are people who get off on this kind of stuff. A lot of them. I mean, let's be honest, Harry. You look at these people, and I've talked about this before. You break it down to its basic level. I mean, these are people. These are nerds, dweebs, geeks. These are people who never went to the prom.
I never had a date. That. I swear I was going to say they didn't go to the prom, and you went and said it.
But seriously, Harry, I mean, like Jamie Raskin and all, we talked about him before. I mean, they get off on this stuff. Like, this is the highlight of their day. It's like they're sitting in the basement watching porn on their computer.
By the way, can you imagine Merchan at one of the beautiful people parties when he gets to tell all his liberal, crazy, socialist, Democrat, hard lefty friends, communists and pro-Hamas friends, that how do you like it when I let Stormy Daniels say all that stuff and then I scolded the Trump team for them making me allow it? I mean, they love this stuff. It's like The View yesterday, Whoopi and Sonny and the whole peanut gallery celebrating. Is Trump going to Rikers Island? Will they reopen Alcatraz for him? It's terrible.
Well, there's more than one or two women on The View who in prison might be a good thing for them, because they might get something in prison that neither of them has gotten in 30 years, which would maybe put a smile on their face for one.
All right, that's your parting presents. What are they called when you leave the game show? They have consolation prizes in the green room. I'm going to go to the next call, Andy. Have a great day. Thanks. You got it in. 609-407-1450, open phone line. Ladies and gentlemen, Atlantic City's own John Devlin. John, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Well, I'm well, and I'm very optimistic. I hope it's not a fake out and that it's not a personnel matter about somebody else. But it looks like tomorrow night, the Atlantic City Board of Education, they have committed to the public that personnel matter will be discussed and action will be taken.
Yeah, that's what we read, and I'll tell you, if it doesn't happen tomorrow, and first and foremost, let's say this: it's not a special meeting. There's something special about it. It's the emergency meeting. Okay, you're calling a meeting within 24 hours. To me, that's an emergency. And what's going on in this school district right now is an absolute emergency, and we need to take action on it. And you have a board president who's a coward, who we all know is only there for the perks of the job.
Is he going to be the board president after tomorrow night?
I want to tell you this. Now, I've known that board president for a long time, and I could say a lot about him, and it will come. His day will come. But I'll say this: he's a coward. He's only in the position for the perks. And I say this, Harry, I don't think anybody knows this, and it'll be broken on your radio station. He wants to be a martyr. He will resign tomorrow night from the board because he won't want to make a decision. He won't vote against, Marty's wife, because he's one of Marty's puppets, and he sits in the fire safety building, does nothing all day if he even shows up. And, he's got a cushy job. His wife works for the district. His father used to work for the district. I mean, he's making unethical decisions every single day at the behest of the small-owned company. So I say he won't be there. I think he'll step down because he doesn't want to be board president anymore.
Is it also true, I've been hearing this, that the board wanted to address this, and if I ever find that out and I can confirm it, I will at least give them credit for trying to do the right thing. And anybody that doesn't know how it works, the board president has no more power than any other board member except for the fact that they control the agenda. It's my understanding, and this is at least what I've been told, John, you tell me if I am correct or not. I've been told that Shea Steele has prevented this from coming up before now.
I think he's part of the hypocrisy. Is it totally him? Probably not, but he's definitely part of the hypocrisy. I can say this. When I was board president, if I want something on the agenda or I didn't want something on the agenda, I controlled that.
Yes.
Now, he's obviously controlled, and he's a puppet, and he can't handle his own destiny. So I'm sure he's taking orders from headquarters and doing whatever he's told to do. So with that being said, you're spot on, Harry.
Wow. So at the end, we've been pretty good on our predictions. At the end of tomorrow night, will LaQuetta Small be either suspended, and it'll be with pay, of course. The Smalls can't ever. It's in the blood or something. It's required. You can't miss a penny, man. You got to pay me. I'll leave, but you got to pay me. I say that they find some finesse way of calling it something other than a suspension, whether it's a sabbatical, which I know is not supposed to be paid, but come on now, small doctrine, they get paid, or a leave of absence, again, shouldn't be paid, but this is, the doctrine, or suspension. Which is it going to be, or none of the above?
It's insane that we have to talk about this, but I will say this. Now I think I'm like 2-0 on this. I want to say it's something that we've never heard of, that's never happened before, and that, how big her ego is, that nobody can tell her what to do, and she's not being controlled, or you ain't telling her anything. I'm going to say it's going to be something so egregious that you're going to fall out of bed in the morning. And of course, the almighty dollar. She's getting paid. Let's not even fool ourselves, okay? I'm going to say, like you said, Harry, I'll piggyback on what you said. It's going to be a sabbatical. She's going back to school. This was planned. Listen, I got a whole case of sealing wax in the back seat of my car. I'll sell you real cheap. Stop it.
You know what's hilarious, John? I don't care what they call it. Her being out is such a plus because you cannot. If it was LaQuetta Johnson, if it was Joe Schmo, it doesn't matter that it's Laquetta Small. No one that has serious criminal child abuse charges can stay in a public education position. Teacher, administrator, you can't have it. And of course we know because Constance Days Chapman was suspended second one.
Harry, again, we're swimming in waters that never been swum in before. Any employee of the district that is charged with a crime, and look, we're not better than other people in the district. We've had employees, including Marty Smalls, charged with crimes back in the day when he was indicted 11 times in that voter fraud case. He was suspended, and we have employees all the time that are suspended that are charged with crimes, and you're guilty until proven innocent. I hear you. But you can't stay under the umbrella of our school district while these pending charges are looming over. Now, it's up to the board whether you pay, and you're paid or unpaid. And it's
by the way, I got to say, and I don't know Riley at all, but what I see I don't like, and it's on a number of occasions. Shame on that, because you pay a lot of money. Taxpayers of Atlantic City, you pay a lot of money for your board solicitor. How that board solicitor has allowed this to continue for weeks, John, it's a disgrace.
Harry, her phone, Riley's phone is pinging right now because every time this district's office or my name is mentioned, she gets an alert on her phone. So let's be clear. The district pays, and it's being clear, the taxpayers of Atlantic City pays millions and billions of dollars. And Google it, if you don't believe me, to the Riley law firm. They have contracts with the district, contracts with the city, contracts with JCMUA. Are you following my lead here?
Yes, I am.
Let's follow the money trail, Harry, and you'll you understand what's going on in the city of Atlantic City. Again, I think the bottom line is money. I don't think the superintendent's going to leave unpaid. She's going to come up with some excuse where, it puts some kind of deflection on there from that she was charged with crimes that involved children, and she's still holding at the helm of the school district. So I think it's going to be something unprecedented.
But you do conclude that she will not be in the position active as of tomorrow night.
I'm going to conclude that she's going to not be in that position. She'll be paid. And I want to just take a crazy swing at this. You're going to see the board vote against her being suspended. Probably 80% of the board will vote to keep her. The state will have to overthrow that vote. And you'll see some board members resign. I bet you a pension check that's what's going to happen.
So you say plural. You think more than one board member is going to resign tomorrow night?
I think the board will vote against her, just like they voted against George Crouch being removed when Chris Christie passed that law. The board voted against dismissing him from the board, even though the law said you have to dismiss him from the board. They did that way back when. Shea Steele led the charge on that one. You're going to have the same thing. I think the board's going to vote, how can you do this? How can you do this? Terrible. I'm not supporting that. The state will overthrow it, and you'll have more than one individual on that board that'll...
Well, this is going to be tricky because the state has already come out and said they're not taking any action until disposition of Marty and Laquetta Small criminal child abuse charges. So this is a lot of moving parts going on.
I think it's people like you, Harry, mostly you, that have taken the bull by the horns, found out what's really going on in this district. People like me, people like George Tibbett, people like Johnny Exodaculus and beyond that stand up in this community. And we're not scared of these cowards, coming for, our jobs, our reputation, and more. We don't care. I think, it's transparency. We're exposing their corruptness, and they don't like it. And I think, thank God for people like you and me, that we're standing in the line. And we refuse to back down. And I think we really exposed them. And I think you, thank God, with your resources, really exposed what they were trying to do.
John, it's good to talk to you, my friend. Stay close.
Stay close, and we'll regroup after the vote.
Thank you, sir. See ya. Back to your calls right after this. Don't go away. It is the Hurley in the Morning program. You'll be next, and you'll be right after that. Please don't go away. We'll be back in just a little bit.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you. It's Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. A special meeting tomorrow night of the Atlantic City Board of Education may decide the fate of the criminally charged Atlantic City Superintendent of Public Schools. Disgraceful that they've allowed it to come to this. Weeks of this. Atlantic City with a great first ever in American history. Check out the article. It's so positive and it's so good. And the Atlantic City Police Department doing a great job. They arrested 3 people.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Across the heart of New Jersey, temperatures will soar into the summer-like 80s this afternoon. We do have to get through a quick round of showers and thunderstorms this morning first, then clearing to sunshine and turning breezy. Inland high temperature west of the Parkway, 82, closer to 70 along the immediate coast. Increasing clouds tonight, low 62. Scattered rain tomorrow, mostly cloudy and cooler, high 69. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. 42 minutes past the hour. Right back to your call, 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Jim Malamut about 20 minutes away. John Walters in today's 9 o'clock hour. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. Glad you called in. You're on the air.
Mr. Hurley, good morning.
Good morning to you.
You know, every day you wake up, the Justice Department just keeps getting a little worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, a little more corrupt and dishonest every day.
They've taken the mask off of justice. Our laws are now read through kaleidoscopes. What do we do with the marginal judges and the prosecutors that don't want to do their business?
Yeah.
We send them on a quest to find our laws. That's how we get them out of their offices and off the bench.
Well, it's going to be tough because you need regime change. The power resides within the Department of Justice. And right now, Merrick Garland picks people like Jack Smith. He condones the work of Judge Juan Merchan. He condones the work of Fani Willis and that crowd. In every single one of these, there is breadcrumb trails to the Biden White House to all of these prosecutions. I mean, they're busted. They're caught dead on this. And they don't care.
When they're not looking, put the mask back on justice. That would be a good start.
Yeah, I hear you.
Have a good day.
You do the same, my friend. Big challenges lie ahead. 609-407-1450. You're going to be on deck. Hang in there. Don't go away. You are on the air. Go right ahead. Hi there.
Yes, good morning. That's Stormy Daniels, and that chosen profession of hers is an actress after all. But I guess it's irrelevant in the hearing of the
By the
jury.
way, now they're calling her an executive producer, a filmmaker. I mean, I just can't even, I don't have words. I really don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, but now Trump's attorneys, I guess it's irrelevant for them to bring up the fact that she might be putting on an act right now. But it's irrelevant to say that she's a porn star and a paid hoe, right? That's irrelevant. But I want to say that that's a bunch of it makes your blood burn, man. It makes your blood boil, of course. But I just want to say, you know, when a baby's in its third trimester of pregnancy or ready to be born, they'll inject that baby with a saline solution and then just scald the little baby to death. And while it still has a little bit of breath left in it, they'll pull it apart with a pair of triceps. What do they call them? Not triceps. Oh gosh. The instruments that they use to tear apart the baby's body.
I know. Like forceps, right? Forceps?
Forceps.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, brain ain't working. Anyway.
That's all right.
Anyway, they'll they won't complain about that. They won't speak up against that, but they'll go ahead and take a woman to task for killing a dog 20 years ago, an aggressive dog. But as far as I'm concerned, there's been smear campaigns going on since the French Revolution, and we do live in a day of show me the man and I'll show you the crime. So why is it beyond the pale to say that this woman has had a successful smear campaign launched against her not to be the chosen VP? I don't know. It just seems that way to me. And as far as these paid operatives or agent provocateurs for freaking George Soros, I mean, they were involved with the Minneapolis and the summer of Floyd when the Minneapolis was turned into a hellhole or piece of. It's a burn up char of the city now, and also Portland, Oregon too. Now they're involved with these here protests. But it seems like that, these politicians don't pick and choose what they want to protest or what they want to consider lawless in that. That's because they want to control the lid. See, they want to take the lid off the hellhole, but they think they can control the lid. But once you open up Pandora's box, it's going to be hell all over the place in America. Thanks.
You're welcome, Flash. And when we come back, more of your calls straight ahead. You will be next, and you'll be right after that. And we're just going away for a little bit. Don't go away. Just a short break. This is...
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Makes me think about things a little bit differently.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio Hurley in the morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. It's 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Jim Malamut on deck in 15 minutes. John Walters will follow in today's final hour, today's 9 o'clock hour. Welcome to Hurley in the morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. This is Mark Katona. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine, Mark. Hi there.
I wanted to share with you something I'm promoting for actually all of New Jersey, especially in the area of Atlantic County. And it's the third rideshare service that has been offered to the public out there. Everybody knows when you think about it, Uber and Lyft. And the big problem, even the cabs, they've raised their rates, okay? And also, for those people that are working really hard and using their own vehicles, they're only giving them 40% of the ride share, which I think is pretty incredible. So there's a constant complaint going on with all of these.
Yeah, I actually thought they got a lot less than that. They used to get a lot more. I thought it was much less than what you just said, Mark.
Yeah, it's a constant complaint of just 40% of the ride. So a new company that started March 1st in Miami, and it's going to go all over the country. But right now it's in Florida and Louisiana, and like on fire because everybody, the unique part about it is you've never heard of Revo Rideshare. And Revo Rideshare is organically grown just from word of mouth and social media. But what you can do...
By the way, Uber started very small as well, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And look where they're at now. By the way, 23 million Uber rides per day in the United States. When I heard that, I went, oh, my God. So I do financial planning, and this is such a great alternative of an income for those that want to actually have another income in retirement besides depending upon an IRA or 401k or a pension that they don't have.
By the way, as you also know, Mark, competition, I'm a big fan of competition because it keeps things honest. If they come in and they do a good job and the economies of scale are such that the employees or contractors, whatever they're going to be, do better, they will make the others have to be more competitive because of that. So competition's healthy. It's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The unique thing with this company, though, is anybody can come in and be a part of Revo Rideshare. You register as either a driver or a passenger, and you don't have to drive or be a passenger. That just gets you in the system. But drivers can recruit drivers and passengers. Passengers can recruit drivers and passengers. And the unique thing is this is how they solve the problem of greed within the two companies that are existing.
Yeah, I never heard of this until right now, so this is news to me.
Yeah, I actually brought it into New Jersey, and I'm trying to get it open in the state. And the more we have drivers and passengers, then we're going to be able to operate. And it is word of mouth to grow. Harry, can I give a phone number for all those out there listening?
I'm going to say no for right now because I've never heard of this. You sound like a very good person, but I really don't like to promote, business like that. It is, a program where, people pay what you're trying to do for free. So in the interest of news, I'm happy to talk about it, but I don't want to get too commercial with it if you don't mind.
No, not a problem at all. So the part I love about it is all the drivers get paid everything but $1. So the Revo's giving the drivers.
So how, now I don't want to say I'm suspicious. How is a company going to live, exist, thrive? I mean, I guess you could say the volume, but $1, that's it? I mean, that doesn't sound sustainable, Mark.
Right. Here it is. They do charge for the ride. There's 23 million Uber rides per day. They're guaranteeing that they're going to beat the rates of Uber and Lyft. That's their goal. But they're giving so that's for the passengers. That sides the passenger side of it.
Yep.
Because they had raised the prices. But on the other side of it, they are giving the drivers everything but $1. And
wow.
That $1 that they're not giving the drivers, they're compensating the people who signed the driver and the passenger up. So,
and my prediction is it won't stay $1 because I just don't know how that. If I was on Shark Tank right now and I was Mr. Wonderful, I'd be posing some very, very aggressive questions. Mark, do me a favor. I got to run for now, but you got it out there. A lot of people heard it for the first time. I'm one of them. And let's talk about it again. I'm curious about it, and I like the aspect of competition. The $1 thing really raises my eyebrow, though, because how do you stay in business? Now, I guess with volume, but it's one thing to say, hey, they only the company takes 60%, and I think it's more than that, but you think it's less. And you sound like you know what you're talking about, so you're probably right and I'm wrong. But I thought there was a big dust-up that the drivers weren't even getting 40% with the rideshare stuff. But this seems to be the opposite of that, like $1, and everything else goes to the driver. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of people that want to use it as riders, and you're going to have a lot of people that want to put it on their app. Maybe they'll still do the other ones too, but we'll see where this goes. I'm interested. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. Paul, how you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Harry. The anti-Trump sentiment here where I live is horrible. So I just don't say anything about politics. But, I'm a big Trump fan. The other thing, too, supposedly where I live is a place for senior living, but there's a lot of people here only 50 years old. And actually, I would like to go back to work, okay? But I can't go back to work because where I'm living is under New Jersey Medicaid, and you're not allowed to have an income.
Right.
But I would love to go back to work. I still could write programs.
Yeah, I think they should find a way. I understand if you're accepting a benefit or an entitlement. Some of them are because you are retired. But we have such a need anymore, for so many things that people with experience could still contribute. They ought to find a way where you could do both.
Yeah. There's a lot of openings for people in artificial intelligence, and I can write programs in Python, which is the preferred computer language for artificial intelligence. But they won't let me work. So
hey, Paul, I got to remember to say this because I'm running out of time here. We're almost out of the hour. The man who I was trying to connect you with called on air. I took him off air. He gave me the identical number that you told me didn't work when you called. I retexted that to you. So you got it again, but this is one of the great mysteries of our program's history, where I have about 5 times compared the number to make sure I have it right. So if you haven't spoken to that person, that number is correct. Not only did I not take the person's word because I said, look, he called you. I recited the number. He called you at that number. It didn't work. I said, hang up. I'm calling you back. I called him back. Boom. 1 ring. He picked right up. So that number is that gentleman's phone. So you can call him at that number. And we'll talk the next time you check in. I've got to run for now. It is halftime. As always, you make open forum one of the professional great joys of my life. I love it. Jim Malamut, he's great. He's making mortgages great again. And he'll do it next, right after this, on the Hurley in the Morning program. Stay with us.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Hey, thank you. Welcome back. Not even 6 minutes past the hour. Pleased to report Jim Malamut all about mortgages here today in the 8 o'clock hour. But before we begin on mortgages, because the Hurley in the Morning brand, we have roving reporters all over God's creation. We have learned and we have confirmed this is a very monumental moment, because I'm going to bring up the fact that Jim Malamut has retired. You didn't think you could retire and me not know about it. Well, you have retired. Explain. You haven't retired from making mortgages great again, but you have retired.
I retired from the Ocean City Basketball League, so my wife makes fun of me for even making a post about it, but I retired from the one league because it's a summer league. It takes up 2 nights a week during the summer. It takes a lot of time away from my family, my kids. So I decided I was going to stop playing this summer and hang out with my kids more. And I'm not retiring from basketball. I'm still going to play basketball. I'm playing tonight in a league, so that's not happening. But I am retiring from this one league. I've been in the league for 19 years. My team's won 7 championships in that league. So for me, I thought it was like a big deal, but my wife thought I was, making a big deal of nothing. So,
by the way, you have a little bit of a cold today?
I do. I wouldn't say a cold, but like I've had a little bit of a runny nose. I don't know if it's allergies.
Wow.
But I
Good
definitely,
chance.
you can hear it a little bit.
Do you take any type of allergy medicine?
No, I don't.
Well, then that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't feel sick. But I do have, my nose is better now. I can feel it. I can feel nasally a little bit.
Such an ear.
Oh yeah, you get to hear exactly.
I can hear.
Yep.
I know the difference.
Yep.
So I actually thought, I'm glad you clarified. I thought you retired from all of your men's league.
Nah, not from all men's leagues. Just from the one league where I've had a dominant run.
How many years? I remember when I retired from men's league basketball, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I had played since Biddy League, Hutch.
Sure.
Then Junior League, then Senior League, then the Men's League. And then, you know what? There comes a time where you realize you just don't want to get busted up anymore.
And I'm still okay. Like I'm not covering the best guy on the other team or anything, but I can still cover the other team's worst guy and not get abused at this point. But I'm probably the oldest guy in most of these leagues, and I'm not getting embarrassed. But like you said, I want to get ahead of it. I don't want to be where it's like, why is this guy still playing here? And so I'm out. I decided to gracefully bow out before it gets ugly. And
I will say, Jim, I remember in the Ventnor Men's League, and I'm sure you've heard of the Ventnor Men's League. It was, I don't know if it still exists today, but I can tell you in our day, the Ventnor Men's League, you had people, well, I hope he's listening, Pastor Al Syverson, who was Division I caliber. You had, before he passed away, Denny Sackert, who was a St. Joe's star.
Sure.
Buck, his brother, played forever. In fact, Buck was on my team at least 3 years in a row because I just loved him as a point guard.
And his son Doug is still in our league now in Margate.
Great people, just a great family.
Absolutely.
So we had people. I'm not saying Buck, but we had people play very, much in advanced years.
Yeah, and there's an over 40 league, so that's what I'll probably go to next year. It's just, for me, the Ocean City League is more about me not being with my kids. And, in the summertime, I looked at it like this. Monday night, everybody's busy. So,
I ref that league before.
It's a great league. So
years ago.
Monday night, everybody's busy. So I'm not going to really be able to do something with my kids on a Monday night, let's say. Tuesday night, I'm playing basketball. Mm-hmm. Thursday night, I'm playing basketball. So that only really left me Wednesday night to play with my kids and do something. And it's like, well, what if they had an activity? What if I had work? So it's like, it was leaving me no time with my kids.
You picked priorities there.
Yeah, that's all it is. They're in that age bracket where it's like, this is the time we really get to enjoy it. So
the three premier men's programs, in my opinion, and again, my info is a little outdated because I just haven't paid as much attention to it since I stopped reffing, was the Ventnor Men's League that was at Suffolk Avenue Courts.
Okay.
Occasionally we would go inside if it was inclement because we had gyms. The Brigantine Men's League, which I ref for many, many years, and the Ocean City Men's League. But I will also say Margate had a good men's summer program as well.
Yeah, so at this point in summer leagues, I don't know that Brigantine or Ventnor has them.
They did for years, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
At this point, I know Ocean City obviously does, Sea Isle does, but I don't know any other. Margate did for a little bit outside. The JCC has one inside, but there's not really much outside for summer leagues around here if you're not doing the Ocean City one. So
that would be the preeminent, right?
In this area, yeah. I don't think there is one outside in Atlantic County at this point. So most people I know have been going to Ocean City.
Well, I like your priorities. Final question. Are you going to miss it?
Oh, yeah, of course. I loved going over. It's fun going over there and just, you make that walk up on 6th Street and you see all the people, all the tourists, and it's like, you feel like you're like a star going to play basketball, and it's something I'll definitely miss and enjoy. You
play on the courts that are near the track and
right next to the high school and right
courts.
Next to the Ferris wheel. It was right next to the Ferris wheel. Yeah. I mean, when it was nighttime, you got the Ferris wheel lit up, and
I ref there probably hundreds of times.
It's a very cool place to play. So and like I said, you have random people just walking by off the boardwalk that'll stop by and just watch the game, and it's a cool place to play. So I'll miss it, but my kids are more important. And you only get this chance in life once, so got to enjoy it while I can.
On to the topic of what you do professionally, and that is mortgages as the official and exclusive mortgage expert for the Hurley in the Morning program and the Harry Hurley family. How are things?
Things are good. We've been pretty busy. Last month, April, I just did the numbers. We closed 33 loans for about $9 million in volume, which is a very good month for this time of year. Much better than last year this time of year. So things are good. I don't know, if things are great if you're a buyer, though. It's still tough out there if you're a buyer. The market still, if you listen to our show, you probably hear the same thing for the last 4 years now. There's very little inventory still. It's tough if you're a buyer to try to find a property. And if you're a seller, you still have most of the advantage. So that has not changed much, I would say. Values are still on the upswing, it feels like, especially on the lower end. There's a lot of demand for housing, $300,000 or less, Harry. I think if I could say out of 5 calls, I would say 3 out of my 5 calls are in regards to $300,000 or less housing.
That basically are like a unicorn sighting, right? They don't exist.
That exactly. But that's what people can afford in this area. That's where the middle class kind of sits right now. And if we kind of look at numbers, it's not that crazy to think about, Harry. Think about a teacher right now. Okay, let's call a teacher making $75,000, or let's use easy numbers, $72,000 a year, $6,000 a month of income. So if you're making $6,000 a month of income, you can have about $3,000 a month of debt. And that includes your mortgage payment, car payments, student loans, credit cards, everything. And, let's just say the average person probably has $500 to $700 between a car payment, credit cards, student loans. So that only leaves you about $2,200, $2,300, $2,400 for a mortgage, and you're not going to qualify for more than maybe $275.
So right now the game is stacked in a way that people can't buy a home.
It's not, I won't say it's stacked, but it's very, I want to say difficult, but you have to have dual incomes. You know, unless you have somebody who's making a significant income, you need two borrowers for the most part.
Do you think it will ever go, look, this is just a wild question because, you know, it's for others to decide, but forever it seemed that you could get around your student debt, and a lot of people get knocked out because they may have $100,000 or $200,000 or more in student debt. As you know, it's not unusual. These schools can be $70,000 a year.
Sure.
So you're talking, you know, whatever that is, $280, you know, or whatever. What am I saying? Like more like it could be $360 or $320, you know, at the end of 4 years, or even more when you count other things involved in it that add up too. So if the educational debt could be put on forbearance or otherwise not count, I think a whole lot of people would be fine from a debt to equity ratio standpoint.
It would help. You know, my honest answer is it'll help, but I don't think it's going to change the dial that much. You know, I think.
Well, if you have $2,000 a month payment.
Well, yeah. Again, that would help. And I think those people aren't even calling us. So, you know, if they didn't have that payment, maybe that would swing things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, these student loans that I do see are small payments. You know, they're not huge payments unless your income's higher. And they try to make it affordable for
What
these
is
people.
true, if you have lower income, in some cases, your payment owed is zero.
Right. So
they have really
they're
great.
Very, yeah. So
I'm thinking about somebody that makes a certain amount of money.
Exactly. So it depends on the situation. If it is a zero payment, we use 0.5% typically is what the payment would be. So if you had a $200,000 owed and you weren't making payments, we would count $1,000 against you. And in that example, instead of qualifying for $3,000, now you qualify for $2,000 for a mortgage payment. And if you have a car payment, then it's even less. So to me, and again, to kind of circle back what I was saying, is that the car payments that I see nowadays are what's really hurting people. You know, the car payments have gone up so much in the last 2 years.
I mean, are you talking like $600 a month or even more than that?
I just think the normal person, Harry, let's say normal person making $60,000 a year, okay? Their car payment used to be $300 a month. Now it's $600, $700, $800. You know, I see higher car payments for everybody. And that's hurting, you know, what they can do. And, you know, I would say it's just inflation's kind of is setting in. You know, you're seeing it in car payments, you're seeing it in insurance. You know, I just got my home insurance for my house yesterday, and it jumped up like $700 or something. You know, I want to say like a 33% increase year over year for my own home insurance. So, you know, this is happening everywhere, and
car insurance too.
That's what I'm saying. So I think these little things are starting to impact everybody. And you hear, you know, Chuck talked about it yesterday about the economy. You know, the lower end is starting to get impacted really by this inflation stuff. And
that's why I think the whole concept of, we're going to have an economy that's built from the bottom up, middle out. No, the lower income people right now are getting squeezed. It's bad.
They are getting, I mean, I don't know if this is going to sound wrong here, but in my honest answer, the lower end always gets squeezed, Harry. You know, that's my personal opinion. You know, like if you don't have anything, like it's hard to take from that. It's hard to give that. It's like if you're in the higher end, like
the political speeches make it seem like they're so cared about, and you know we're looking out for you, but really they're the ones getting it right in the neck.
They're always going to get in the neck because there's not much to take from it. You know, it's like if you're making $30,000 a year, what are you going to do? Take $2,000 in taxes instead of $2,500 in taxes? It's so that, again, I'm not trying to be, you know.
No, it's the numbers.
Yeah, it just is what it is. So the lower class, the lower end is always going to get hurt the most.
Break time. We're going to be right back. It's 18 minutes past the hour. Our official, exclusive mortgage expert for the Hurley in the Morning program for the Hurley family is Jim Malamut of Green Tree Mortgage. You can reach Jim at 609-646-5555. And since he's retired from the Ocean City Men's League, he has even more time to make mortgages great again. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Egg Harbor Township. I'm from Margate.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG.
Brigantine.
Cape May. Galloway.
Hurley in the Morning. on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
We need to just listen to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We're back. Jim and I are right now. This is a mini segment of the program. We always check Zillow to see how things have changed in the last 30 days. Zillow will always give you 30 days look at what's happened with your property. And
I was here 2 weeks ago, so we know, it's
shorter than ever.
Yes, it's a short time frame here on our turnaround
because of COVID-19. Let's see.
Mine's still showing up 1.4% though, Harry. 30 days, and yours 2.3%.
Very happy.
That was different than last time I was
3.1.
So
now it's 2.3, but it just keeps going up.
Yep.
And a couple of percent on an item that's worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially is thousands of dollars.
Yep. So
I'll take 2.3 every month for the rest of eternity.
And I think that's what you're seeing still in the middle to higher end, people who do own houses who are still spending. That part of the market hasn't been as affected as the lower end. And I think that they see values keep going up and they feel like there's a piggy bank there that they can spend with, and they might be using their credit cards because they realize one day they can get that piggy bank. But, that's my 2 cents on it from what I can kind of see. I yesterday, Harry, we closed refinance for somebody who had that situation.
Wow.
Yeah, not many refinances these days, but we have.
You saw my eyes peak when you said that.
We have 2 this month, and this guy did a cash out refinance to pay off some debt, and he's saving about $800 a month still, even though his interest rate's going up from like 3.75 to 7.5.
But he was also able to take money out, you said, right?
He took out some money, too. And he's saving $800 a month by paying off all this debt he had. He paid off like 2 car payments, a couple credit cards.
Well, look at the difference. I mean, you might say, oh, my God, look at this 7% or 7.5%. But that other debt was probably
20, 30%.
Yes.
Well, he said he had a Disney trip in there, a trip to Greece to see his family. So it's like, these things add up, and it was worth it for him to take the higher interest rate on the mortgage and get rid of the debt. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of that in the next year, just because I think you're going to see more people in that kind of situation where they're getting choked a little bit, but they have the equity in the property and they want to, take advantage of it.
I was literally just going to respond to a social media message that was a question for you.
Sure.
But before I started typing, I was about halfway through typing. I'm not even going to bother finishing it. The caller is here.
Beautiful.
So I was just writing you. You can pose your question. Go. Caller, I was just going to write you back, but you're here. You can pose your question to Jim. Go right ahead.
I wanted to know if he could speak about VA loans.
Sure, would love to. VA loans are one of our favorites. Obviously they're only for veterans. You have to be eligible by the Veterans Administration, and you can
not an immediate family member of a veteran, right? Just the veteran?
Just the veteran and his spouse. So great question, Harry. I can't get a VA loan with my dad or my mom. I have to do it only with my spouse. But the VA loans are amazing loans. You can do 0 down, 100% financing anywhere in the country. There's no restrictions on income. There's no restrictions on your where you're buying. Condos are not a problem. Almost every condo is approved with the VA that I know of in this area. So the VA is an amazing program. And then there's no mortgage insurance too. You pay no monthly mortgage insurance with a VA loan. So those are all the benefits of the VA loans.
Also, they let you take out 100% of the value of your home. A lot of benefits.
0 down. You can get the seller to pay your closing costs. I say there's really not much downside with the VA loan. It's just you got to be a veteran. That's the only problem.
VA has all the benefits of FHA and even more.
Right, because there's no mortgage insurance.
Right.
You can do 0 down, where FHA got to put 3.5% down. And with VA, there's no monthly mortgage insurance, where FHA, you have to pay like 0.5% in mortgage insurance. So you save money on both ends there. And those are the rewards for being a veteran. So we appreciate our veterans. We thank you guys for our service. or for your service, excuse me. And that's the benefits.
Jim, we have, if we need more, we can do it after the break. We've got about 3 minutes before the bottom of the hour. Jim Alamut,
Sure.
Green Tree Mortgage. I wanted to follow up on something because I took a phone call just a couple of days ago, and I knew that we were going to be together today, so I just held it for your program. I was told that there are condominiums in the Atlantic City, specifically, or Atlantic City area, where you cannot get a mortgage right now.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, we always have issues. We only have 3 minutes for condos, but condos in general are always more tricky. We have to get a condo questionnaire filled out, and if the condo questionnaire has issues, then we can't finance it. And I've had at least one or two in the last year that have had issues. What kind of issues? One time there was a person who owned too many units in the building. So let's say the building was 15 units. This one entity owned more than 20% of the units, which makes it ineligible for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Wow.
Because if that person goes bad, the whole complex goes bad. So, that was one of the issues. I had another one recently. They were doing work on the facade. If there's doing structural work to the building, it is ineligible for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac purposes. So, I know,
if they're doing construction?
If they're doing work, they were doing work. They checked off the box that there were structural issues and that the work was being taken care of. So while this structural issue is being addressed, we cannot close it. If it was not a structural issue, it would be fine. But they specifically checked off the box that it was a structural issue. Wow. So, stuff like that can kill your deal. So
that means there is, and I know one that I'm not going to do it, but I have written about him a lot.
Yeah, I know
of one, and I know, Jim, where we don't even have to say it to each other. We just had nonverbal communication that you can't see over the air, but we had it. So I know one that actually now you can't get a mortgage right now.
So there's multiple, Harry. You can get a mortgage, you just can't get a normal, standard, traditional mortgage, we should say. Okay, you can get a private mortgage. You can get there's banks that specialize in these condos that are called non-warrantable because you can't get a loan through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're not warranted through them. So there's lenders out there that specialize in these types of things. But you're going to put 25% down. You're going to pay higher interest rates, higher fees, stuff like that. Back with Jim Alamut right after this. And again, to reach Jim and his team at Green Tree Mortgage, simple to do, 609-646-5555. We're talking forward mortgage world this hour. Next hour with John Walters, we'll talk all about reverse mortgages. We continue right after this.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
It's exactly 30 minutes past the hour with Jim Alamut. I'm Harry Hurley with three stories that you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. A special meeting tomorrow night that may decide the fate of the criminally charged Atlantic City Superintendent of Public Schools, LaQuetta Small. A really positive story that we wrote this morning. I really enjoyed it. Atlantic City was first ever in America in what we've written about. Check it out. And the Atlantic City Police Department doing a great job. They arrested 3 people.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. You probably need the umbrella and windshield wipers for a bit this morning, then the air conditioner this afternoon. Quick round of showers and thunderstorms coming in from the west, then we'll clear to sunshine this afternoon. It'll turn breezy today, inland high 82. Increasing clouds tonight with a low of 62. Tomorrow we'll see scattered pockets of rain throughout the day, mostly cloudy and cooler, high 69. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today. This is an important safety.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
Harry Hurley is the only person on the radio who isn't afraid to speak the truth about what's really happening in Atlantic City.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We're back. It's 37 minutes past the hour. Jim Alamut, Green Tree Mortgage. We continue. Jim, this is not happy joy what you're about to share.
No, Harry. So recently I wanted to share some news I heard about a buyer looking at a new construction property in the area. And I'm not going to say it's 100% confirmed, but the rumor I was told was that the seller/builder had not done anything yet. The property, nothing's been done to build it, and it was taking the deposit and running, basically filed for bankruptcy.
That's a horror show.
It is.
Because you're taking people that they now may not have the money to be able to do what they thought they were already doing.
And this guy gave about $45,000 up front. So
breaks my heart.
Hopefully the rumor is false, and but really what I'm trying to say is you really have to vet your builder if you're doing a new construction property. And whether that's, you're buying a lot in Margate and doing new construction, or buying somewhere in Egg Harbor Township, you really need to look into your builder. Is it, someone who's been around for a while? Is it a public company?
Right. That has a track record for actually completing what they say they're going to?
And this person, this builder, I had never heard of before. It sounded like they had gotten a couple lots locally and had some people under contract, and our office had at least two of them. So I don't know how many others there are, but that's the rumor I heard. So just my warning is
buyer beware.
New construction. Do your due diligence on the builder.
Breaking.
Yes, but I do have some good news, Harry. To kind of counter that, I was so the same person we did that refinance for. Mm-hmm. I did his loan when he purchased the property about, I want to say 8 years ago, and I was stunned at his taxes. His taxes had barely gone up over a time of 6-7 years, something like that. It was crazy how little they had gone up.
I don't find that unusual.
I do, because when I first started...
Oh, you're talking about any tax increase whatsoever? I mean, for example, if you're talking about the $70 or $100 that might go up every single year, I think, for example, and especially considering how many kids there are in the school system, the city purpose tax is much better than our school purpose tax. I think taxes in Egg Harbor Township raise minimally over the years.
And that's what I'm saying. I think our area has done an amazing job with taxes. Local real estate taxes have barely,
I see what you're saying.
Have barely moved in the last few years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is.
I got what you're saying.
And
I misheard.
Yeah, it's all good. So that was the good news. The good news is taxes have really not moved that much in the last few years in this area. And now it's kind of, to me, it's kind of stunning, especially.
And yet valuations are up.
Valuations are up. You had COVID too, where inflation has really hit everything else but our taxes. And, I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, wow, how this guy's taxes have only gone up $500 in 7 years.
Well, I think you have
pretty remarkable.
A lot of local governments that take a lot of pride in being able to then run for re-election and say, we don't raise your taxes.
Yeah, no, and I want to, you have to give kudos to when people are doing a good job.
I agree.
And I think really, we should be giving credit to Atlantic County, to our leaders right now, because our taxes, whether it's Linwood, Margate, Atlantic City, and I know Atlantic City is controlled by the state, but every town in this area, you have not seen taxes jump up significantly like we did 10 years ago.
How does Longport continue? I realize they don't have a paid this, they don't have a paid that, and they share services, and and it is small, and they don't have many kids, and so I mean, I could answer my own question, but still, the property to buy there is exorbitant. I mean, it's through the moon. But if you already had property from a whole different time, and you're paying your taxes now, their taxes are low.
The tax rate's low, but now the valuations are higher there. So the taxes have gone up because you're paying taxes on $1 million, $2 million properties where they used to not be evaluated as low because everything's redone over there, I would say, for the most part. Half the town's been rebuilt. But yeah, they're able to maintain a low tax rate. And, you look at towns like Egg Harbor City where your tax rate's very high. And it's, there's definitely... It's hard to justify sometimes, but it comes down to the schools mostly more than anything. If you don't have schools, you don't have teachers, you don't have to pay those salaries. You're sharing it with Margate. It definitely helps reduce your tax burden. So and then you have a lot of second home investors. People that actually don't live in the towns. You don't need these services. So you answered your question before. But, like I said, I find it pretty remarkable how low, how taxes have not increased in this area with the way inflation has hit everything else. It's hit the cars, hit the insurance. We talked about that in the first hour, but inflation has not hit real estate taxes. And I think that's something that, should be, proudly talked about in this area.
Totally agree. And that's obviously helpful with everything costing so much money. It's hurt people.
Yeah.
Energy, food, everything.
And that was something I expected to happen. If you went back and probably listened to our shows in 2020, 2021, I probably said, I expect inflation to start hitting our taxes. I expect our, everything to start going up because of it. And our taxes haven't gone up. So that's, it's pretty remarkable. But, that's not saying they won't go up. It's not saying next year they won't go up because, like I said, these insurance charges are starting to hit. Like it has to hit eventually, I would think, right? It's gotta, you always have to pay the piper eventually. So it'll be interesting, but I'm pretty stunned how little it's changed over the last couple of years. Because, we're 4 years out of COVID now.
Yeah. And like you said, though, it is a credit to those that have found a way, whether it's by strategic cuts, shared services, whatever way, sometimes using surplus.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
That's what it's for, right?
To keep, taxes down. But I agree. They've done a good job.
Yeah. But, now let's also go negative. So if you buy a property and it's, been recently renovated, you can tell there's a new deck on the property, make sure you call the tax assessor before closing to see if you're going to have any increases, because I have had multiple cases in the last year where somebody bought a flipped house, a property that they literally just did the deck again or put on a deck and never got approvals with the city. And then after the fact, the city goes on Zillow, sees what the listing says, and it says brand new basement, brand new deck, all these things. And the city's like, well, we didn't know about this. And all of a sudden you get this tax bill that goes up. So,
I don't like that. And in fact, I don't think they should be able to do it. The event of just selling a property shouldn't mean that they can swoop in and do that. I think that at the time that they reval the entire town, then you're involved in that as well. And just another little coaching aspect here. You don't have to let the person that's doing what Appraisal Surveys Inc. or whoever might be doing the reval of your town. You do not have to let them in your home.
And those are coming, Harry. These revals are coming.
Oh, of course.
I don't know when it's going to be, a year from now, 3 years from now, but...
Well, they have a thing when it goes up a certain amount.
Right.
You have to.
So it's coming. I don't know exactly what date it's coming, but it's been exactly. So
but
I would bet on it
you
in the next
don't
couple
have
years.
to let them in.
Right.
Many people do let them in because they think they have to. Many people do because they choose to. But some people strategically choose not to let them.
Right. So, and then we can talk about tax, that when that does happen, the goal is, my dad used to say, a third goes up, a third goes down, a third stays the same. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I think this time around is going to be different because everybody's value has gone up.
That's why let's do this after the break, because there's more to be said here. I never bought that 1/3 goes up, 1/3 goes down, 1/3 stays the same. Because if you're in an environment where everything's going down, it's all going down. If you're in an environment where it's all going up, how is yours going down? I want to talk about it when we come back, because I just have never bought that.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
I'm looking for trustworthy news.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. For complete contest rules, visit WPGTalkRadio.com. Hurley in the morning.
They always have great conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. Back to Jim in just a moment. This portion of Hurley in the morning also brought to us by United Methodist Communities at the Shores. I'm asking you to join them on Friday, May 24th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can browse booths and a variety of crafts and merchandise. You can enter a floral wreath contest, enjoy free ice cream, live music from Ralph Michaels' Sounds of Sinatra. It's going to be awesome. If you're considering senior living options for yourself or a loved one, I recommend United Methodist Communities at the Shores in Ocean City because they have fully remodeled private apartments, 2 restaurants, a bistro, on-site fitness center, and the Tapestry's memory care residence. Best of all, it's just 3 blocks from the Ocean City Beach and Boardwalk. Celebrate the season at the Shore Spring Market with crafts, vendors, ice cream, live music, Friday, May 24th from 10 to 3 at the Shores, located at 2201 Bay Avenue in Ocean City. To learn more about United Methodist Communities at the Shores in Ocean City, simply call 609-399-8505. That's 609-399-8505. Jim Malamut, we are at 8 minutes before the top of the hour. Time is yours.
All right, Harry. So we're going to talk about those tax assessments real fast. So why do they say 1/3 is going to go up, 1/3 is going to go down, 1/3 will stay the same? I think in traditional times when you would do these revals, values wouldn't have jumped up 200% from the last time. You know?
Right, where everybody is up.
Right, and I think that's more the thought. But, like, let's use this example. You know, everybody's gone up. So everybody's value is going to, or assessed value is going to go up on this time around, okay? Now, what's going to happen is the tax rates will probably end up going down as a result because the values will go up, the rates will go down, but your taxes will probably stay similar. Now, to be, you know, my dad, Big Bill's credit, I do still think 1/3 of those people will probably end up going up, 1/3 will go down, and 1/3 will kind of stay the same because everybody's value is going to go up. You know, so it's kind of going to be like, how much did your value go up? Did your value go up 30%? Did your value go up 50%? Did your value go up 100%? And then,
so if everybody goes up, then how will that apply that 1/3 went up, 1/3?
Because the tax rates are all going to come down.
I see.
And if your value only went up 20% versus your neighbor who went up 100%, your neighbor's going to pay more, but you're going to pay less. So it's going to
it almost needs like an asterisk because everybody's going to go up. Some will go up more than others, is what you're saying.
Well, no, everybody's assessment will go up, but the rate will come down. And I think will come down significantly as a result. And it's just, okay, if the rate goes down 20%, but your value only went up 10%, then your rates go down. But if your value went up 30% and the tax rate went down 10%, then you're going to go up. So I think at the end of the day, I still think you're going to have some people go up, some people go down, and most I think will not change that much. But if there's going to be certain people I think who.
But I think if you took Egg Harbor Township, I remember the last time we had the revaluation. If they do that anytime soon, I think everybody's are going to go up.
Well, everybody's assessment will go up, because your value has gone up.
Yeah.
So everybody's assessment will go up, but as a result, the tax rate will come down. They won't need to charge the same rate to get the same amount of money. So the rate will come down, and if your rate, let's say if the tax rate comes down 5%, but your value went up 10%, then yours is going to go up. But if your neighbor only goes up 1%, but the tax rate came down 5%, they're going to go down. So it just depends on what have you done to your property, how undervalued were you compared to other people. And I personally think most people won't see a significant change. But there's going to be certain people who, probably were too under who are going to feel it a little bit.
Interesting.
So
5 minutes.
All right, Harry. So the last 5 minutes is the biggest topic, biggest question I get from realtors, from buyers is real estate commissions paid by the buyers. And do I have to pay a commission?
Is there a lot of confusion about this?
There's tons of confusion.
I think so, yeah.
So let me try to do it as fast as I can in 5 minutes. So number one, let's talk about the past. In the past, the seller dictated the commission. So the seller said, listing agent, I want to pay 5%. You're going to get 2.5%. Buyer's agent's going to get 2.5%. Buyer came to make an offer on that house. Buyer's agent said, okay, I'm getting 2.5% because that's what the seller told me I'm going to get. Done. That was it. You didn't have a choice. You couldn't negotiate that. You only got your 2.5% as the buyer's commission. Now, things are changing. Seller will still tell their agent, I want to pay you 2.5%, but the seller cannot dictate what the buyer's agent's going to get. The buyer's agent's going to dictate that with the buyer up front, and they're going to sign what's called an exclusive agency agreement. So that will determine how much the buyer's agent gets, not the seller. Okay? Now, the confusion sets in is, does the seller still have to pay it? Okay? Or does the buyer have to pay it? And each case is going to be different, But I think for the majority, you're going to see the seller still paying it because the buyers simply don't have the money to. You know, the buyers can barely get
and to make the deal happen, they have to go that way.
The sellers,
see if you agree or disagree with this comment I'm about to make. My comment about this from the beginning, because I pay a lot of attention to this.
Sure.
Our relationship, family members, I pay a lot of attention to this. I came to the conclusion very early on that somebody decided to come up with a solution to a problem that didn't exist.
Basically.
This is disgraceful to me.
I'm not going to say it's disgraceful, but I'm going to say it's definitely not necessary. It's a
I mean, if
solution.
In the free market people want to start saying, like Carlo Lasco does 1%.
Yep.
And he came out early. He came out before this was even that ripe. We're doing 1%. We're doing 1%. All right, so you do that. I think the free market should have been allowed to handle this.
And exactly, I do see both sides of the coin. I don't think there's a problem here. I think it's going to stay similar. It's just now the buyer can tell their agent how much they're going to pay them versus before the seller told them how much they could pay them. And the buyer had no control over how much their agent was going to make, and that's the biggest difference. So I understand that is almost a little bit of free cap. You're giving the buyer some more skin in the game as to how much their agent's going to make, but at the same time, you might be taken away from the agent, and I don't like that because they do work very hard.
Yeah.
So, I do see both sides of it, and to me, I don't think you're going to see much change. I think things are going to stay very similar. The biggest thing you're going to see is these buyers' agency agreements that you sign up front that before was never signed. And that's going to be the biggest change. And like you as a buyer, to go see a house, you're going to have to sign this agreement that says you're my realtor for the next 3 months, and you're not going to be able to just change as easily as you used to be able to. So I think you're going to see a little bit more loyalty as a result. Before I would have a buyer call, let's call Joe Daly. They would call Joe Daly, get pre-approved. They call me, we're pre-approved with me. Then they go see 10 houses. They can't get under contract because the market's tough. Then they find a house and it's, Harry Hurley has the listing, right? Harry Hurley, they call you and say, Harry, is this house still available? And Harry says, yeah, it sure is. Do you have a realtor? And you say, yeah, I do. But you're like, well, if you use me, I'll reduce the commission to 4%. You can get a better price on this house. And it's like, well, why am I going to use Joe Daly now? Right? Now, I'm not saying that's ethical, but that's what happened. Now that's not going to happen anymore. You're not going to be able to do that as a listing agent and say, hey, why don't you use me? If you have a buyer's agency agreement already signed, you'll get sued if you try to do that. So you're going to see less of that, where people stealing other people's clients.
Which I don't go for that.
No, but trust me, it
put
happens.
A lot of money out. I know it does.
Yeah, so you're
but
gonna,
people
you're gonna
put
see,
a lot of money out.
Right. So for me, I like that. You're not going to see this like where I have to be ethical and not say anything because the buyer doesn't want me to say anything to the other agent now. So I'm happy I won't have to be put in the middle anymore. But at the same time, it's not helping the buyers, the realtors as much. So
20 seconds. You did it.
Whew, man, I made it. So, NBA, I predicted, I'm going, I think I said the Nuggets last time, but I have to change my mind now.
Who do you like now?
2 weeks later, quickly, I'm going to go with the Celtics.
Celtics look good.
They're going to win the East, but I'm enjoying watching the Knicks and the Villanova boys.
Do the Knicks have any chance?
Sure, they have a chance.
Yeah.
They're playing very well,
chance.
But the Celtics are the best team.
Sixers should have beat the Knicks. Jim, great to be with you.
Thank you, Harry. Always great.
You know it.
WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Welcome back. It is my pleasure to welcome John Walters, who on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month both presents and sponsors John Walters All About Reverse Mortgages. John has been providing strategic options to help improve retirement outcomes for more than 18 years. It's just flying by. John, you're really close to 20 now, right?
Correct.
Are you 19?
19.
I can't wait to say 20. It's a nice round number. When you work with John, There's no obligation whatsoever. You're going to love to work with John. Call him at 609-231-4924 to review your many options. That's 609-231-4924. John Walters is a certified reverse mortgage professional, which is a great professional credential to have. Working with John Walters, you can stay in your home. You can pay off your existing mortgage. You can make it possible to have no monthly mortgage payments ever again. And then John can also help you establish things like a credit line for anything, let alone emergencies. And this comes in the form of monthly payments. You can do lump sum distribution of proceeds and a combination of all the above. You work with John, and it's a non-taxable event. To find out more about what a reverse mortgage really is, call John Walters at 609-231-4924. And if your organization is looking for a public speaker, I found one for you. John Walters. Invite John. He'd love to come before you and your organization. You can text John. You can call John, 609-231-4924. You can email John any questions that you have, or if you're a group that would like to have John come out and speak before your organization. J. Walters, just like it sounds, J. Walters at longbridge-financial.com. With those pleasantries, welcome to your program, John.
Hi, thanks very much, Harry. I really appreciate the introduction, as always. And I'd like to say, for those of you who are out there who are new to our program or tuning in for the first time, welcome aboard. We're here every other Wednesday from 9 to 10. And the goal of the program, as the title says, all about reverse mortgages, is to educate you about a financial product that very few people understand. And so, Harry, as you know, I spent 35 years in the classroom as an educator, and now almost 20 years in the mortgage business, and specialize in the reverse mortgage. The same thing. It's education that we're going to be talking about. I just need to share with you that I'm a reverse mortgage consultant with Longbridge Financial, and my NMLS number is 91144. Our branch address is NMLS, which is 2484170. And our address is at 1501 Pleasure Avenue in Ocean City, New Jersey. So, Harry, I want to share with you, before it gets started, that I listened to you and Jim previously, and I heard the caller call in and ask about a veteran's mortgage, and I started to think about this a little bit, and I think it ties in with what I do, is that there are different mortgages for different kinds of people. And with our particular mortgage, or I should say our program, it's an age-based program. And what we do is I'm educating people of one of the ways to use home equity to strengthen your retirement. And what I want to share with you is that it does play a very, very important part as people age in place, and that's the purpose of the program. So let's talk about what the difference between a forward mortgage and a reverse mortgage. Jim Malama just came off the hour, and I was listening to the show. I'm on for this hour, and I was just speaking with Jim on the steps as he was leaving the station, and he said, it was kind of funny, I was sharing with him about number of people that are seniors between 65 and 75. Almost 4 out of 10 can't qualify for a mortgage because of debt to income problems.
There you go.
And he said, John, I didn't know you used debt to income with the reverse mortgage. I said, well, it used to be if you could breathe and you had equity and you were of age, you could get a reverse mortgage. What they've added to that is something called financial assessment, but really what it is they want to make sure that you can afford to take care of your property, pay your taxes, pay your insurance, and that the product's going to benefit you and play a part of leveraging your situation. So one of the things for those people that might be interested, we do have, actually, I have a book called Reverse Mortgages, which is a discussion guide. It's 20 pages. I'll be happy to mail it out to you. There are some major key concepts in there, and this actually was produced by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, who puts out a lot of educational material. And what they talk about is what a reverse mortgage is, the difference between a forward and a reverse mortgage, what happens if I sell my house, what happens if there's a mortgage on the property. So all these things apply to the forward world as well.
Is the simple question, if you have a mortgage, a balance still left, you pay that off when you get a reverse mortgage?
Yes. And any mortgage, what happens is that the bank or the lending institution wants to be in a first position.
So that pays that off. So that's the only encumbered person left.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will accept a second behind that, but that's on a case-by-case basis. One of the things I wanted to talk about, Harry, and this keeps coming into my mind, and I know I've mentioned it on prior shows, especially with this particular program and because it's an age-based program, is to expect the unexpected. So, Harry, my question for you is, and I want you to think about this.
Okay.
If it was your parents going back a number of years ago, or family relatives, as an example, what were some things that might happen that was unexpected?
Well, I mean, I don't mind even getting personal. Both my parents had cancer.
Okay.
So, and terminal cancer. So you're talking about, a major issue there where my mother worked at home. We were very lucky to have a stay-at-home mom, toughest job in the world, by the way. And my father, though, when he was very, very sick, he wasn't in a position to work.
Right.
So that's a major deal, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so now what we're talking about, health.
Yes.
Okay. When you were just mentioning its most difficult job, probably with you and your brother, it was very, very difficult for your mom. No?
Hey, when you get two, let me tell you something, John. When you get two at the same time,
yes,
and you were only expecting one, because we're not that old, but you didn't have what you have today. My mother knew she was having twins, so at least she was prepared. Dr. McGann said, no, one big baby. So you have twins at age 40?
Right. Unbelievable.
Yes.
I'm the youngest of 7.
And she was great. Yeah, we're the youngest.
Yes. So we know
5.
Now, I'm going to bring something because sometimes you like some of my verbiage.
Yeah, I do.
Harry.
I do.
And I wanted to tell you that there were two things that were brought up in my life over the last so many years that have played a vital part in my decision making. The first story has to do with, and this has to do with the reverse mortgage, because it has to do with teaching people to be proactive, not reactive. And going back a number of years ago, I was in Japan with my brother, and we were training, doing judo, and he was on the Olympic team. And
wow,
we were at what was called the Kodokan, which was a place that you practiced judo. And there was an instructor, and this instructor, we were talking about trying to achieve certain things, Harry, and you'll like this. And he says, whatever you want in life, don't chase it, let it chase you. And what I realized what that was...
That's profound. It's very interesting.
Very simple, but very profound. And if you think about it going...
By the way, there would be a lot of disagreement with that philosophy because some people would think... You have to show that you want something. Why would someone chase after you?
Well, and that's part of that, the way that is worded, if you think about it. And in our case, what it was, people were chasing a black belt, as an example.
Yes.
And what he was saying is, if you lay the foundation and you do the training and you do everything.
You do everything. You do the work. The black belt comes to you.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And the same thing applies.
That really is a state of mind because you could make I could say that I was an elite runner and I won a lot of races and I trained and I really worked hard because I wanted to be successful and I wanted to win. So did that come and get me or did I come and get it?
You chased it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think you also could say you chase a black belt. It's a philosophy.
Well,
to look at it differently.
Ideally, if we're looking at a reverse mortgage as an example, Do I need a reverse mortgage? What's the criteria?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm trying to bring in, is using this as an example. Instead of saying I need to get a mortgage, what I'm talking about is being proactive in trying to understand what do I need to know in order to get there, either one way or the other, okay? And I'm going to give you one more quote from Albert Einstein, which I thought was phenomenal. He says...
By the way, what was his IQ?
I don't know.
160, which is genius, but barely. A lot of people look at Einstein. He's a genius. He's a genius. 160.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow. Well, he said that you're never going to solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it.
There you go.
Okay.
Almost the definition of insanity.
Correct. And the reason I bring these two things up, Harry, is...
By the way, did you know that Einstein also, I believe this is true, it wasn't the same outfit every day, but he took out of play, he ate the same thing every day, and he had the same clothes, but different versions of them. That way he never had to think about, what am I going to wear? He wore the same thing. Go look at pictures of him.
Right.
Always the same thing.
Right. That's a great story.
I just love doing this back and forth.
Back and forth. And but the idea of what I'm trying to bring in here is thinking outside the box a little bit, okay? Realize that maybe if something's not working for me, if you need more funds, if I need to figure out how to increase my cash flow, if I need to pay off my mortgage, is to think along these lines of developing some skills, developing some strategies to help you address it.
John, do me a favor. Look at the clock. What do we need to do, John? You're a broadcaster now. What do we need to do right now?
We need to take a break now, Harry.
Yes, we do. Thank you, John. It's John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. If you have a question for John on the air, call us now, anytime during the hour, plus the 6 minutes bonus before Kilmeade, the birthday boy of yesterday, turned 60. So call us now on air, 609-407-1450. There's no such thing. You know, when you're brainstorming, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Don't ever think, I'm not going to pose my question. It's a dumb question. No, there's not. You know, I always said the only question that's a dumb question is the one you don't ask. So call John now if you want to talk on air, or give John a call privately at 609-231-4924. We'll be right back after this.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Goshen, Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. We're going to get to John in just a moment. It's 23 minutes past the hour. This portion of our program, Hurley in the Morning, also brought to us in part by Congress Hall. From presidents to great musicians, artists, dignitaries, esteemed guests for more than 200 years. And your company has requested. Congress Hall stands as the grand resort of them all in Cape May, New Jersey. An icon of relaxed elegance, warm hospitality that has welcomed generations of guests since 1816. It's remarkable. And they have just such a beautiful vibe, the marble floored lobby, the American flags that line the history hallway, and that is a great tour. You'll see the Great Fire of Cape May and how much of Cape May was destroyed at that time. Just remarkable stuff in the history hallway. Spacious ocean view guest rooms and suites. An overnight stay, to quote my beautiful wife Margie of 43 years, this October 17th. One night at Congress Hall is like a vacation. An overnight stay at Congress Hall feels like you're stepping into your own little cottage by the sea, one of the nicknames that it's had for over 200 years, paired with great amenities, and it's a world-class resort. Healthy indulgences as well with Congress Hall Sea Spa, hearty farm-fresh favorites at the Blue Pig Tavern, farm to table, the great artisanal cocktails, Brown Room Lounge, and, of course, the boiler room with incredible wood-fired oven pizza, some of the best pizza I would say on the planet. Fabulous. DJs, dancing down in the boiler room. Congress Hall has it all. And remember, during spring, a midweek stay means less crowds and a better rate. Book your stay at caperesorts.com/Congress Hall. Congress Hall, America's first seaside resort. John, the time is yours.
Why, thanks very much, Harry. In your previous show, you were bringing up something about inflation, talking about costs of things, how things have cost so much more. And that's actually an area that has a bigger impact on people of retirement age,
Absolutely.
especially if they are retired and they are on a fixed income.
Yep.
And what I wanted to just go over with people, as a matter of fact, as of within the last month or so, I saw an article. It was the 5 greatest obstacles to reaching financial security, especially for people that are of seniors, okay? And when we look at these 5 greatest challenges, I should say, how about one of them being outliving, okay, your savings, as an example?
That's scary.
It's very scary because we know that life expectancy has increased year after, I shouldn't say year after year, but what we do notice right now, it's in the air.
But John, I think you didn't even have to stop yourself. Other than the pandemic, that was happening. We were on a trajectory where the life expectancy was going up, and it did go down during the pandemic.
Right. And 2023 life expectancy is 79.11. That gives me about 41 months, Harry. So
not you.
But what they're looking at in 2060, 85.6. But the point that I'm trying to bring, being that everyone is either taking, or I should say, if they have retirement savings, it's in a 401k, it's in a 403b, it's in some type of investment vehicle that you are responsible for. And let's say you get ready to retire and the funds aren't there. What are you going to do?
Call John.
And that's where the home can play a part.
John, could I just enter for just a second? I just want to just say something that builds off of the comment that you made. As life expectancy goes up, we already know, even though they increased Medicare by 2 years earlier this week and Social Security by 1 year, and that is the broke date.
Right.
I mean, this is scary stuff. We're talking about foreseeable future, like 2035, 2034 for Social Security. So as people live longer, and of course the baby boomers coming of age is going to be one of the most difficult, arduous things in history for Social Security, because it used to be there were many, many people paying for each recipient. Now it's almost like
less employees.
It's like 1-to-1 now. Like, don't call out today, John. You got somebody counting on you.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's a very, very big deal. And if you talk about raising the life expectancy by like 6 more years, that all the entitlements become a big issue at that point.
Correct.
And of course, what you're talking about and what Joe McDermott used to say, when there's more month than there is money, that's a very stressful and bad position to be in.
Correct. Exactly.
And that's where you can help.
And that's where, if you are a homeowner and you are of retirement age, is to view your home as leverage. And what I mean is, and this is very important, is to be able to do your due diligence to find out, this home equity that I have in my home, should I use it now? Should I wait 5 years? Should I wait 10 years? Should I set up a line of credit and not touch it over the next 20 years? There are a lot of different options with a home equity loan, another name for reverse mortgage with a home equity loan. That can be helpful. And what I try to share is 2 key words that I use, Harry. One of them happens to be is what I want people to do is to consider looking at this program to understand it.
Yeah.
Okay? The idea, and if it is to consider it part of your financial plan. Mm-hmm. We look at what we call asset allocation as an example. If you do have assets, you want to be able to spread them out. If you don't have any assets and you own a home, you do have an option. You do have a choice. And this is vitally important. So I think that, outliving your assets is one of the major problems. My problem is, Harry, my eyes.
Well, they look like they're very focused to me. But we're at the halftime break, so you don't have any problem. You can refocus during the break. To reach John Walters on air this half hour coming up, 609-407-1450. Any question that you have relative to the reverse mortgage, please call us this half hour. And if you want to reach John, I understand this. I was a banker with an international bank. Financial transactions, many people want the privacy of their own home and speaking only to John and not to anybody else. And I appreciate that a lot. So don't be shy about that. 609-231-4924 to reach John. 609-231-4924. And use that number also if you're a group or you're an organization that's looking for a speaker. John Walters would love to be invited to speak to your group or your organization and really teach everyone about what a reverse mortgage really is. You can call or text John at 609-231-4924. John Walters, All About Reverse Mortgages, continues right after this.
Hurley in the morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We're back. John Walters continues at 34 minutes past the hour with John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. I say this to you off air. I say this behind your back if I'm talking to people about what it is that you do. I really believe in a time of extraordinarily high inflation. And I always tell people, don't think about the percent, because while the percent of inflation has come down, those built-in increases, they're still there and then some. It's just the rate of inflation has come down. So if you're trying to fill your car and it's like $80 to fill the car, food is through the roof, you are more important in the current environment than ever before, John.
Well, just think about what we were just talking about, Harry. We were talking about shopping as an example. How to shop smarter in order so the cost would be down.
John, there were people, and they're in a certain category, probably seasoned citizens on fixed income like you always talk about, that were cutting out one meal a day.
Yes.
Or cutting their pills in half.
Yes.
I mean, horrible decisions, John.
This is horrible, but over 18 years, I have seen everything conceivable.
I'm sure you have.
I saw a woman who lived off of cat food, as an example. I mean, that's unheard of. But when people don't have anything.
That's right.
And the other thing, Harry, growing up, how about this one? Growing up with this product over the last 18 years, I came in the youngest before I could get a reverse mortgage, okay? Evaluating a reverse mortgage and having this move along this 18-year path to where we are now, where 90% of the people are younger than me, okay, that I have to educate about the program.
That is interesting. When you started out, you didn't even qualify at the minimum age to participate.
Correct.
It's very interesting.
And what's interesting, I was in, this program's been going since 1987 as far as the HECM. I got in, 14 years after that, but I mean, I've been in since the infancy of this program. Mm-hmm. And I can share. It's a phenomenal program. But my strength is be able to share with the listener, is this something that would be good for me? Yeah. Can this be added to the puzzle?
Yeah.
And I also share many different times, if they have a financial advisor or whatever, let's all meet together.
Perfect.
Or, take this information. We've talked over the phone. We do a Zoom meeting. Because maybe they don't understand what the reasoning is behind.
Yeah. Hey, John, we're in the second week of the 5th month of the year. I'm not aware of any changes from last year. Did anything change?
Well, let me it's funny you asked that. Okay. The FHA manual for what we call the manual. It's 160, 180 pages. With this particular program, it's actually called the 4000.1. All right. There has been a lot of there's been a lot of changes in the sense of these little nuances in reference to properties throughout the country, not necessarily to us. You know, you have a well on one side, you got a road that comes in for two houses. We don't have that. Yes. Okay. The biggest changes that occurred, the last changes was 2015. It was called financial assessment. And basically financial assessment, it wants to make sure you paid your property taxes on time, you paid your homeowner's insurance, and you maintained the property.
And they want to ask you, are you fully aware of what you're committing to here and that
Correct.
kind of thing, which is great.
Yeah.
Because you're so transparent. You welcome that.
Yes. And if not, I want to, I want them to have everything to see it. What's important and what I really like to do is I call it an exit strategy when I work with someone is to be able to give them the information and to be able to leave where they feel comfortable, that they don't feel pressured that they have to give me an answer.
Yeah.
That's vitally important for me.
I love the way you go about it because their circumstances will bring them to the correct answer.
And everybody's different.
Yes.
I mean, I've had people a year, 2 years later. I've had people do it right then and now. Every situation is different. When you and Jim were talking earlier on this show, and I was talking about this FHA mortgage, I'm a firm believer there's not a thing called a bad mortgage. What's bad is when you put a person with a particular mortgage, that's a bad thing. Okay? But the mortgage isn't bad.
No.
Okay? But you have to know and do your due diligence. And this is one of the things that I try to share with people is basically increase your learning curve. I remember I was in my 30s and I didn't know the difference between going into the bank, asking a checking account, a savings account, money market account. Why are they different? How are they different?
Yeah.
Okay. And I got the dummies book. I remember.
Hey, John, let me tell you a funny story. I got to tell you a funny story that piggybacks off of this. And this person is wonderful and much more sophisticated now. This is a long time ago. I knew someone that didn't understand that you had to balance your checkbook.
Right.
They thought they could just write checks.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation that, well, you have to have the money in there to cover the check.
Right.
And this was and this person isn't an idiot or anything. I know it's somebody listening saying, oh my God, was this person stupid? They just thought you got a book of checks and you could just start writing checks.
Yes. And
you don't know what a demand deposit account is and all these different things until you know.
Yeah. And it's not that you have to know everything, but it's important to have some fundamental financial literacy is very, very important. Okay. And, the reverse mortgage, this home equity loan is unknown to a lot of people, or they don't understand it. And this is what I'm saying. That's why I give a book out. How about this one? 130, 140 pages, Dan Holquist, Understanding Reverse Mortgage. The most common questions, 46 questions that people ask about the program.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I'll send it to you.
That's helpful.
Okay. And that's what's comfortable to me. This is not as in the forward world, what I call a transaction. Transactional approach. What's your monthly payment? What's my APR? What's my rate? What do I pay at the end? This is much more sophisticated than just a transaction.
It's a really good point. If you have a question that you'd like to pose on air to John about the reverse mortgage, you can call John now at 609-407-1450. Caller, you're on the air with John Walters. Go right ahead.
This is Steve from Absecon Island. It's a very good program today, and I wanted to pay a compliment to Mr. Walters. For all the listeners out there, I have called Mr. Walters. He's excellent. He's truthful. He's honest. He's responsive. He's all those descriptions and then some. And I have not yet I'm not of that age yet, but he did provide countless numbers of hours and email messages, as well as sending me literature on the programs so that I can make the best informed decision for myself based on my home here in Absecon Island.
Steve, what a great comment. What a great comment.
No, I mean it. I wanted to call in. Because, you know, I speak to Mr. Walters from time to time and, you know, bouncing ideas off of him. I'm not of that age yet. I'm 61, will be 62 this coming March. So I got another, 11 months. And then I can start collecting my SSN if I decide to stop working. But I wanted to explore it because, you know, sometimes things, you know, they always say caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. Right, Harry?
Yes, sir.
Right, John? Yeah. And I said, the program sounds almost too good to be true, but it is true. Yeah, the interest rates are a bit higher. Yes, sometimes the appraised values don't come in where you want them to be. And yes, sometimes the loan to value or, John, what's the actual term? Not loan to value.
Debt to income?
Not the debt to income, the loan to value where they appraise the home.
They use, well, the term we use is financial assessment. That's the term we use.
The financial assessment on the house that determines how much you can borrow. Sometimes, you know, that doesn't come in, but you have to explore it. And it's so true what you guys have been saying. The time to explore it is months before you're ready to use it.
Correct. Yeah, you do it when you don't need it is the best scenario.
And I have to say, while you're on the phone, Steve, as you know, we've had many different chats and talked about different financial things. And I love being able to have dialogue with somebody like you because you know, especially being an educator, I like people that want to absorb more information or learn from each other. Let's put it that way. And just like talking with you, you may do a reverse mortgage, you may not do a reverse mortgage, but now you know about it, and who knows who you will talk to in the future.
Absolutely. I'll disconnect and let you get to the next caller. Thanks a bunch.
Good to talk
John.
to you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Take care. That is, to me, that's the paycheck. When someone calls unsolicited to say and validate all the things that I say about John all the time, and these are really important character quality traits: honest, caring, you work hard, you're always there for folks. Here's someone that you can't even do business with for almost like another year, almost,
or may not,
and may never,
right?
But you're there for him.
Yes, and as I shared just a few moments ago, one of the things that I have a passion for is somebody like Steve, in the sense that he's doing all the due diligence possible to make the best decision for him as time moves along. And Steve happens to be in that position, retired, maybe partially retired, might be doing some work. But the point is that he's of that retirement age, that he's looking down the road. What is in my best situation?
You know what I love about, like, you can tell Steve is very thoughtful. He is hitting a magic moment in his life where he has big decisions that he has to make. Like, do you take early Social Security at 62? If you're not working, that's a better scenario than if you were continuing to work, because I'm not going to recommend to anybody, but I'm not taking early security while I'm still working full time, because all I do is limit, you know, my options in that regard. But Steve, you can tell his wheels are turning, and but the most important thing of all of it was he demonstrated that everything that we say about you is true about you, your way about things, your follow-up systems. That was very nice.
No, I appreciate that. And I think that's, especially with this particular program, most people do it over the phone.
Yep.
And personally, I understand across the country that might be the only way that they can do it. But ideally what it is, as Steve just said, is to get somebody that's thinking about it, not sure about it, let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation. Let me give you some information.
Yep.
Let me send you a video. Okay.
Or sit together.
Or
sit
sit
down.
together.
Yeah.
And that is really, ideally, the best way of doing it. It's not the only way.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to come right back. Final break. It's already 47 minutes past the hour. I haven't said it yet today, but your show does go by very, very quickly every month. We have a special episode of John's program in May because during COVID-19, I missed one of John's programs. So we're going to make that up on Wednesday, May 29th in the 9 o'clock hour. And I'm already looking forward to that, John. So
I appreciate
not
that.
only will we have the 2nd today and the 4th coming up, we'll be with John on the 5th Wednesday of the month of May. And I don't know about you, John, this year is, and we're going to go to break, but this year is flying by.
It's flying by.
My God. I mean, we're 8 days into the 5th month of the year. It's quite amazing. With John Walters, it's Harry Hurley for Batteries Plus in Northfield. They're literally next door. If you pulled into Broadcast Center, you could drive right over to Batteries Plus from Broadcast Center. That's how close we are. He's right next door, Roy and the team. They're wonderful. Tell them I sent you because they can do it all. I'm telling you. If your screen of your smartphone is cracked, if the charging port got discombobulated with the wire, it got caught on something and you see that it's not tight, it's not right, they can fix that while you wait. If you need a new battery, they can do all that while you wait. If you need a battery for a car, a truck, a marine item, a RV, camper, golf cart, ATV, mobility scooter, or motorcycle, if you need a battery for any of those, go to my friends at Batteries Plus. If you're getting ready for the storm season, you need LED. If you need emergency lighting, a portable generator, surge protectors, they've got it all. I mentioned the broken phone or tablet screen. They can fix it. You're going to love working with the team at Batteries Plus, 900 Tilton Road in Northfield, Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Stop into one of the locations I just mentioned, and you can enter to win a pair of tickets to see Journey and Def Leppard. With John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. I am Hurley in the Morning. We'll be right back.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Makes me think about things a little bit differently.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
Since 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been committed to supporting our nation's first responders and veterans. They support America's heroes like U.S. Army Major Jonathan Turnbull. Now, Major Turnbull sustained devastating injuries at the hands of an ISIS suicide bomber. Tunnel to Towers gave him a specially adapted smart home designed for his needs. Join Tunnel to Towers. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month so this great work continues. Their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the stations, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Hurley in the Morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back with John Walters at 53 minutes past the hour. You're listening to John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. I have to tell you, John, I'm jazzed up about Steve's call because not that I was going to say not that you need it, but we all need it. I love validation.
Thank you very much.
He gave it to you.
He gave me validation, and I appreciate his call. Now I'm going to give you some validation. Okay?
I'm nervous.
I'm sitting here in Harry's office. What would you call it? Your
studio.
Your studio.
Thank you.
And I look up on the wall and I see all these placards that starts at number 100, goes down to 70, 60, 57, 51, 47, 37, 35, 29, and a new one just recently has gone up, which is the number 25. And you had just mentioned that this was one of your goals. Can you share with me what these are?
Well, because I'm very competitive. When I ran in high school, at Atlantic City High School or at Stockton, I just always very competitive. And my goal, first of all, it took over 22 years to get on the list. And most people never get on the list because there's only 100 spots. So my goal was to get 100, and we got that 10 years ago. And what we've been very blessed about, John, do you notice that each year we have improved?
Yes. Is this in the country?
That's in the country. Yeah.
You're within the top 25 in the country.
Yeah.
I am absolute. I almost feel like bowing to you.
No, please don't. But yeah, you didn't think you were like guest hosting or co-hosting with Chopped Liver. Yeah, we're very blessed. Only one ever in the history of South Jersey. Very few ever in New Jersey have ever made it. And we're very, very fortunate to be on there because it's...
No, that's fantastic.
It's
really
easy not to be on there.
Yeah.
But thanks for mentioning it.
I was harassing you, but on a serious note.
My goal on 25 was, as we started to move, you start thinking about things. The first year you're number 100 and you're just pinching yourself because you're on it. I couldn't believe it. Because I had checked that list every year for 22 years, and you're not going to be on it.
Right.
There's no application. You can't apply. You don't even know. So it just happened, and I was like gobsmacked. Then I thought I didn't make it the next year because I went to the final 25, and I wasn't on it. So I thought, you know what? No surprise. We were lucky. You make it to 100. Next year, you just get chopped, off. Yeah. You just never again on it. So I went to the page that was 76 to 100.
Right.
And I wasn't on it because we moved to 70.
Wow.
Which was at the time, until Brian Kilmeade, who beat our record, it was the biggest jump, I was told by talkers, the biggest jump in the history of the list.
Right.
We went from 100 to 70. And then you start, looking at it, and you're getting in the top half. Then you're in the top third. And then, so my goal for last year, I always have a goal. You see the Post-it note right there?
Yes.
On my
yes, I do.
On my banner.
Yes.
So you can see already. You don't have to say it out loud, but you can see. It's very understated. I just write 2025 goal.
Right.
And so I always have a goal. And it's totally out of my control, but you still have one. I wanted to be 25. I didn't think I could go any lower than that because going from 29 to 25 is huge.
Yes.
But I wanted to be 25 because it puts you on the first page.
How about that?
That's what I wanted. That was the goal.
Now, I'm just wondering.
It's going to be hard from here.
No, I understand that. But I noticed over the last 15 years that you started, the picture hasn't changed. I didn't know if you wanted to update that picture for next year.
The picture is not 10 years old. What happened was I had them made at a certain point at a later date.
Okay.
So they all that photo is only 2 years old.
Gotcha.
But I do know that in this business, sometimes people have a photo from like 20 and 30 years.
Right.
That is a newer photo. But let's go and talk about you.
Okay. So getting back.
But thank you for bringing it up.
You're welcome. So what I want to do to finish up, because I know we're at the end of the program, I receive calls and people want to say, what do I qualify for? How do I do this? I want to make this thing simple. And they don't want to get into a conversation right away. And sometimes, Harry, that's what happens. It begins with they want me to run something as far as, their age and their home value is concerned. And they have a certain amount of debt. And from there, we work backwards. Everybody is different. So just to give you an idea, I only need 4 pieces of information, and I can actually run what's called a scenario. I need to know the age of the youngest borrower. Mm-hmm. I need to know the appraisal of the property. Social Security number would be good if you want me to run credit.
Yep.
Along with that. And I can run a scenario from there. The interest rate will be dictated on a weekly basis.
What I do love about the way you do your job, though, John, you ask the questions and you get to know. It's about not a transaction. You're not an order taker. It's a relationship building exercise because you actually take the time to find out what are we looking to accomplish?
Yes.
And boy, when you get the answers to that, well, I'll tell you what I'm looking to accomplish. I don't want to have a mortgage payment anymore. You can help them with that. And you know what else I want to do, John? I want to spoil my kids and my grandkids. Okay. And what else do you want to do? I'd like to have a line of credit. Hey, what else do you want to do? I'd like to have a little bit more at the end of the month because things are tight and I don't want to be like that. I mean, you can answer all these questions.
And believe it or not, and I do it in conversation form, and do they have grandchildren as an example? Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there any particular issues going on within a family? Is somebody handicapped? Do they need to do home remodification? But in the beginning, people are usually thinking about one or two things that they're having an issue with, and it's usually financial. And, yeah, we can take a look at those two items, then I'll open it up, our conversation. Well, we could establish a line of credit here, and what we can also do is give you a monthly cash stream, or don't touch the line of credit and let it grow on a month-to-month basis.
You know what I was thinking about, too? A lot of times, and I've had friends that have done this, actually, sold their home because they don't want to have 2 stories or 3 stories anymore. They get a rancher because they're worried about falling and they don't want to navigate steps up and down. There's a lot of things you can do because there's a lot of people. I'm one of them. I love my home.
Right.
You've been to our home.
Yes.
I want to stay there. But say down the road, negotiating the steps up and down become a problem. Well, I could put in a lift or an elevator. Say that the bathroom area isn't safe. You could have a shower done with a seat, with the proper arm rails and handrails and things like that. So this really can open up the ability. It's not just that you could stay in your home because of what the financial aspect of this does. You could stay in your home because if you wanted an elevator, these things are affordable now.
Yes.
They make very, very good lifts. You could get a lift done into your attic so that you can bring down the Christmas decorations and all these different things without having to go up the steps and schlep and fall. You just hit the thing and it goes up and down on its own. So you can use this to really, I was going to use the term fortify your home, but you could customize your home for this stage of your life.
And I have a situation right now, and I think you'll find this quite enjoyable to listen to. I got a call, and actually this was from Pennsylvania. Family wants to move here. They're both in their late 70s. They're downsizing. Okay?
There you go.
So I get involved, and I find out that another part of the problem is the father or the husband is partially handicapped, and that's one of the reasons that they're moving. So I find out that the adult daughter who recently got divorced needs to move in with them. So in talking with them, I said, I have an idea. I said, you can get a duplex. I said, you could live on the first floor. And this was for conversation, Harry. Live on the first floor. Your daughter, and there were some children involved, live on the second floor. You still have no mortgage. And your daughter can pay rent to help offset your taxes.
There you go.
And they were amazed with that concept. That's why I'm saying it's important to talk, because that's what I love to do. I love to talk. I love to bring in ideas. I like to bring in suggestions tied in with this particular product. And I use the word strategies, which is very, very important, because it's not, Harry, as we say, transactional. It's not just,
I love it.
Okay, I'm not just getting a reverse mortgage because I want X amount of dollars and that's it, and I'm going to compare it to a forward mortgage. It's not a forward mortgage. It can't be evaluated the same way.
No.
And I want to be able to stress that.
And the good news is, in a forward mortgage, you would have a monthly mortgage payment. Here you have no payment unless you voluntarily want to make a payment.
Yeah, and if you're really creative, not just a 2-unit, you can do a 2, 3, or 4 unit.
There you go.
And live in one, rent the others out. Mm-hmm. That is potentially there.
How cool is it that you can actually use the reverse mortgage brand, if you will, product, federally insured product, to actually make a purchase?
Yeah, yes, and I think I'm going to start with that on our next show.
Good.
I'm going to talk about the purchase.
2-minute drill now. for today.
Yeah, if anyone is interested in further information, feel free to give me a call, 609-231-4924. You can text me. You can text me your email address if you don't have my email address, which is jwalters, WALTERS, at Longbridge, just like it sounds, with a dash, financial.com. And I'll be happy to get back to you, and we can pick up our conversation. But I think the important thing is to, as I said, stretch a little bit, try to get a little more information. Even if you're not ready for a reverse mortgage, it could be down the road.
My favorite question, one of my favorite questions, because I love asking you
before you
all
need
these
it.
Different. Not that you're reading my mind and you're close. You're almost Pocket Kreskin 2.0. No, it is this. This is a question I've asked you from time to time. Maybe every couple of months I ask it. From the point that you met someone to the time that they ultimately did a reverse mortgage, what is the longest span of time?
Average, I say.
No. I'm talking about your record setter.
The longest time?
Yes, between when you first talked to someone and they actually did a reverse mortgage. Didn't you have one that comes to mind that was like an incredible number of years?
Yes, it was several years, but we had to restart the application each time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it was a couple of years.
30 seconds, anything?
I'd just like to thanks everything. I'm glad you made the top 25, Harry.
Thank you.
You're on the bottom or the number one page? Is that?
Yeah, first page.
First page.
On the bottom of the first page.
Good.
Yes. Thank you, John. This program on the second and the fourth Wednesday of every month, John Walters, all about reverse mortgages, is presented and sponsored by John Walters. To reach John for anything involved with the reverse mortgage, call 609-231-4924. You can text John as well. We text each other all the time. John's very responsive. 609-231-4924. Brian Kilmeade, he's 60 years old plus 1 day. He joins the program next, or the station next, here at WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We will see you in 19 hours and 54 minutes. Sooner than that, I promise, on the digital platform of WPG Talk Radio 95.5, the app.